Hi, chat. How's it going?
Hello?
You're just
It's
a little
me.
delayed. I blame Kendra.
Hello.
I'm kidding. No, it was me.
Exactly. He was late by like many minutes, and I sat here waiting, and I can't believe he would keep me waiting on his own show.
Of course I would. You're a woman. You have to wait on me.
Ugh,
That's the law.
That means I get all your checks from here on out.
But chat, how's it going? Hope everyone's having a good day, good night, good evening. You know, whatever time of day it is for you.
Yeah.
I've been on the Twitter all day, dealing with people who really don't like Palworld for.
Because, you see, there's Pokemon haters, and then there's people who are like, I don't think the clone should exist, and it's like, alright, now tell us your life achievements.
I noticed that on X, Palworld threatens Pokemon. I really don't think Palworld does, like,
Right.
at the end of the day. I think Pokemon... I've said this before, I think Pokemon has hit too big to fail status. You know, like... We can talk about Palworld outselling the games all we want. The actual merchandise is still, like, a literal billion-dollar industry. You know? Any weird arguments yet? No. Oh, no, wait, what did the person say? There was somebody who tried to say that Palworld was actually totally a failure because some random person claimed it wasn't selling well on PlayStation. They didn't have any source for it. They just said, it hasn't sold well on PlayStation. That means it's garbage. Like, okay.
Are you stupid? What? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? It didn't sell well on PlayStation. What does?
And who cares? It beat the most recent Pokemon game. Like,
It's like not even like a statement. It's like it didn't sell well. It didn't sell well on PlayStation. Nothing is selling well on PlayStation. PlayStation has no games.
Like, what, are people gonna buy a PlayStation just for Palworld when it's on literally every other system? Like, it's not gonna be a PlayStation seller. Which is partially funny, because PlayStation is, like, half the reason Palworld exist, but, managed to make it, as far as it did with, like, advertising and stuff. Because they got picked up by Sony a little bit. I support the better practices of the gaming industry compared to whatever GTA 6 or Pokemon is doing. Pokemon's just a trash fire, like, quite frankly.
Pokemon, here's the thing. It says a lot, because I'm not someone who, like, slanders Pokemon freely, but I think it does say a lot when the company is like, we need to focus on the plushies and the spin-offs and the anime and every other project but the game.
Yeah.
Says a lot.
Like, I think everybody knows that they're struggling at the end of the day. The biggest things I hope they would do in Pokemon is allow us to skip all the cringy dialogue.
What? But the cringy dialogue is just anime dialogue. That's the whole point. You're experiencing it.
I personally just wish they would make better dialogue. I don't want them to get rid of it. I want the stories to be better like they used to be.
Okay. True.
Because I feel like they used to have good stories. Like, people could say they didn't all they want. I thought they did. You know, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm fine being wrong about that. About things I actually enjoy.
All I'm hearing is that you're coping and seething, and Pokemon will never succeed because I said so.
These are your own, right? Well, I accept the fact that sometimes I get a little too attached to games that I probably shouldn't care about. Like, quite, like, I have no problem admitting that. Sometimes there's just games, I'm like, I know it's shit, but I really like it. I care more about Inazuma 11 than Pal World, which has some divisive localizations, like changing the MC's name from Mamoru to Mark. Why Mark? Oh, hi, Mark. Actually, don't know anything about Inazuma 11. Never been, like, in my interest.
I don't either, outside of it just being soccer in that one Despicable Me ad that it did a long time ago.
They did an ad with Despicable Me?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Really... I need to, like, show you. I didn't know you didn't know about that.
No, I didn't know.
It's, like, a really well-made Gru as well. And, like, it's, like, Gru and Vector.
It's, like, anime characters?
Yes. 11 Despicable Me. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
This is a wild thing to learn about on, like, just...
I think it was, like, the first or second Despicable Me. I'm pretty sure it was the first one. Here you go. Like, this was, like, a funny thing people, like, made fun of back then. I'm surprised, like, nobody knows about it. There you go, I put it in home space.
What the fuck is this?
It's Gru coming to save the day. I told you, the models look really, really well. Really, really well made. It translates the 3D of Despicable Me so unreasonably well. This is probably the only time Gru will look good in 2D outside of maybe Art Deco.
That is so weird. I've never seen this before. Oh, it's funny, but it's a little bizarre for sure.
It was, and I'm still shocked that a lot of people don't know about it because it's so bizarrely charming. And I say this as someone who genuinely grew up with Despicable Me, but it put a smile on my face.
Oh yeah, no, like I'm not upset with it at all.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you learn about it, and it's like, what? What suit saw this and was like, you know what, this is what we 100% need right now. I'm
not shocked. Surprisingly, Minions is really big in Asian countries.
What?
Oh yeah, no, Minions is like huge overseas. I Hate Everything like covered it one time. Like it was all over Britain. Even now, Minions are just everyone loves Minions in Japan, and I think a little bit of Korea and China, but it was really big in Japan for a while. I'm pretty sure they're still big. It's why they keep making the Minions movies. Really a hit overseas.
I mean, fair, I guess. It's the WoW thing for me, I guess, when I hear it.
You would be shocked what is popular overseas from America, because it's like you'd think of like Powerpuff Girls is popular in Asian countries. That's why we got the Powerpuff Girls reboot, even though nobody asked for it.
Well, no, Powerpuff Girls I knew.
Yeah, even though like what is it? It's like the show sucked, but pretty much most Asian countries like rock with like redesigns. Specifically, like, Bubbles with her, like, new, like, hair clip style. They just keep bringing that back. Powerpuff Girls Z? No. Powerpuff Girls Z is an example of, people, like, remaking the Powerpuff Girls for Japanese market, but, like, people, like, Korea and China just, like, love the crap out of the new redesigns for 2016, even though 2016 sucks. They're probably the only country they're probably one of the only few countries that actually still like Bliss.
Fair. I don't know why you would like Bliss. She sucks.
I never said it. Well,
Bunny is so much better.
It's just because Bliss is the conventionally looking Powerpuff Girl, even though her design really.
I like Bunny.
We had a teenage looking Powerpuff Girl design, and they went with whatever they went with that.
Yeah. That ad was my first experience with Inazuma 11. Now I'm in the middle of Chrono Stones, basically the 5th season. Interesting.
The
Well,
chromosomes.
I hope you enjoy it. It is important that we enjoy our media. Even if I know a bunch of people believe you shouldn't. They believe you should criticize it.
Listen, I could criticize all I want of my favorite media. I will still be consuming it in the back so long as it's good.
It's a really weird way to phrase that, but you do you. Yeah, I'll be consuming it in the back. Okay. Whatever makes you feel better. You know, I'm not judging you for what way you do it. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm not the one who's retweeting myself getting railed here.
I don't think I retweeted anything like that.
Tweeted it at some point. I
mean, probably at some point, yeah. Didn't know Kendra was into that. Yeah, Kendra, why are you looking that up? That sounds more like a you problem.
Listen, you don't judge me, Shiroi. I know what you are.
A butt chat. We're gonna start into this video. I have not seen it. Kendra has. I believe we are defending dubs for some reason.
You're defending translations and localizations.
I do need to check.
And you'll understand what I mean as soon as we keep going with this.
That really as low as I can make it go.
What is it? So I guess context for the chat. There is a YouTuber by the name of Red Bard, because this is them. Some of you might be familiar with them because they went viral a couple of years doing the bootleg Giorno Giovanni bootleg pen. And after a while, after gaining a platform and everything, Red decided, you know what? I'm going to defend localization and translation, because this was during the time when the Kobayashi stuff was still fresh in everyone's memory. And she was like, you know, guys, I think there's a misunderstanding about what localization and translation really mean, and let me use my platform to defend it. We'll be seeing how that goes.
Fair enough.
It's kind
of... me and Kendra also had a long discussion about this as well that was way too long for no reason. Little panty and stocking figurine.
Listen. I'm just shocked there's a scanty figurine, because I didn't even know those existed back then.
You know what is the most interesting one for me? Actually,
what?
There's a Tharja one right here that I literally have on my desk.
A Tharja? Who's that?
Weird.
Who's that?
The girl from Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem. Oh, the girl. What is it? The one that you're talking about? That one, the gloomy Kudere girl, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the first one, she's more of a yandere. She has a daughter, or I guess like an alternate universe version of herself that's more of a Kudere type. She's still a little yandere.
All right.
I will say, like, just immediately, we got our Scanty, our Tharja, Monogatari 1 and 2, and I think 3 as well. It's hard to kind of tell from the position, honestly. I like we have Index over here. I kind of want the Index figure.
What is it? Oh yeah, no, there's 3 Monogatari figures there. Actually, there's 4.
Yeah, there's another one here standing on the donut or whatever.
Yep, that's the fan favorite. There's 5.
Yeah. I guess like the table's trying to display as many figures as they can, because the Tharja figure also comes with a stand, but it is quite a large stand, so.
Yeah. What is it? Shinobu's the popular girl in Monogatari outside of the main girl.
to think that in a large community of people.
Oh, look, there's another one. she's just all over the table.
When I say Shinobu is popular, Shinobu is really, really, really popular. Specifically her lolly form.
Oh, I mean, obviously. I mean, who wants a hag?
The Shinobu fans.
Really quickly. Thank you, Bucky. Says, name Shiny Frillish after you. 5 ever unevolved. Thank you. Internet Zen Master. That was blessed, cursed, blurst. Let's go with blurst. Fine, fine. And then Buckley sent another one, says, drink iced tea every time fair enough is said. I don't say fair enough that much.
I think you do.
Whose hobby revolves around trans.
Now we got our Goku.
We got our Fate. We got our... this was back then, so this was Vegito, not Gogeta.
This one on the left?
I think so.
I was about, because I don't actually know much about Dragon Ball outside of Goku Vegeta. Like, I don't know all the forms and shit.
Yeah. I think it's
we've got Astolfo here. I know it's super blurry, but I think this is Rin from FGO. I think that is her, yeah. Oh, and then we have, I believe it's Nero, right, in the back.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Translation.
Oh, there's 1, 2, 3 of her. Another Astolfo in the back. I actually would like the Jack the Ripper right here.
I just like how there's just a random Detective Conan character.
Just thrown in there. This is his harem.
This was like back then when they had to like call it case closed. So whoever this is for, I salute you, because like nobody was talking about this series back then, at least in the West.
Thank you, Internet Zen. Defending dubs, I can count on 2 hands the number of anime dubs that I genuinely enjoy. Hellsing and Black Lagoon. I will be very surprised if this Red Bard brings them up. Red Bard?
Red Bard's the name of the YouTuber.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even... I didn't pay attention to all that.
Back then, when Conan of Detective Conan in America was named Jimmy Cujo.
Is that really what they called him?
It's because they were trying to get around the copyright because of Conan O'Brien, and they didn't want any issues. A couple of weeks ago, they finally got the rights back because now they're trying to attempt to push Conan in the West. So they've renamed it. They're translating everything, because when I say they gave everyone the most white name possible, Jimmy is like not even the most egregious.
Fair play, fair play.
Oh yeah, Ron is named Rachel.
Yeah.
Is nonetheless wildly misunderstood by a large number of those people.
I've got a couple extra in here as well. I've never actually liked these super tiny figures. They always,
yeah.
I just don't like them.
A lot of old school figures have that kind of melty charm to it, but I do appreciate more modern figures for like getting like the perfection of it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate the old ones for their charm, but I like my new figures.
To the point where statements like, I support translators and not localizers have become, well, a thing in general. Oh my god, and yet here we are. When asked...
Oh yeah, apologies. I was way more interested in the figures than her giving her preamble. We're talking about translators and localizers.
Oh yeah, this was during the time when I support translators, not localizers was like going around online. You already know how this is gonna go.
I wonder if she has any comments nowadays about the just replace them with AI.
About what he thinks is the biggest misconception surrounding translation, localization, and censorship, professional translator John Hooper told me that the whole process is just a simple conversion of language A to language B. There's far more involved than just that.
Who'd she say? John Hooper?
Yes.
John Hooper. That's going to be rough to find, because the first thing that pops up for John Hooper is a 16th century bishop.
Oh my gosh.
There is a John Hooper that is the CEO of a Japanese to English localization company called Komaribi. Their website looks like fucking garbage. Holy crap. It's just a blogspot site. It's pretending it's not a blogspot.
Professional standards indeed. This video came out like a while ago. That's yeah.
I think I found their LinkedIn. I was gonna try and see like what they actually made. They have a site. They have another site called Liminesca LLC. Do you have like anything listed on here that you've done? Oh, this one might be the right one because one of the first things that's listed is root double.
Okay.
Are these all just like... There's like literally 6 things on here. Are they all just, what do you call it? Visual novels?
I would not be surprised.
Visual
There
novel.
have been visual novels.
Visual novel. Visual novel. Visual novel. Light novel.
Yep.
Visual novel. Up here's an RPG. But it's like a basic bitch JRPG, so visual novel. I don't recognize the name of any of these things, by the way.
A lot of people who will do the whole localization argument will usually go to like visual novel people, and it's like, guys, it's not that simple. You're trying to translate stuff, like you're trying to like it's not like anime where even though most of the mainstream ones that people pick up are gonna be like easy slot jokes that you could probably, like, if you fiddle around with it, it'll like work. But like they'll go to visual novel like translators where it's like you have a lot more wordplay and a lot more like fun with it because like the translation is quite literally a word-based game, basically point and click and all that type of stuff. And it's just like you can't apply translating you can't apply translating light novels and all that type of stuff to anime where they practically have to sometimes change the wording and cut things because of how, to make it so that even audiences can actually understand what is going on.
Fair. So they have like 6 games under their belt for translation, and some of these came out last year.
Okay.
4 of them came out last year, and then 2 of them the year before. So how many? When did this video come out again?
This video came out 5 years ago.
So they had like literally one thing under their belt when this came out, and it was the one thing that they showed. Granted, he's probably worked at other companies, but still.
Yeah. October 2020.
Like, this person has basically nothing, like, that you can follow up on them with. So I'm kind of interested why they went with this person. Maybe this is just the only person that replied.
What is it? I would say it's a combination of that, but also, you're not gonna really do research on these people.
Yeah.
Because that's what they always do. They always find someone that you can barely you can find them, but it's gonna be a chore to find them, to quote unquote check their credentials.
Yeah. They have like one thing under their belt.
And as though they were reading each other's minds, which is to say that, and because this problem is in fact that prominent, several other translators told me pretty much the same thing, that there's a lot of people who just don't understand that translation isn't some simple machine process. In the words of an anonymous ADR director that I spoke to, language isn't Legos, and there isn't a one-to-one fit. And that's where this
The problem with like this particular talking point is 9 times out of 10 it is pretty 1-to-1.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what about like when they make like idioms and references and stuff like that? In those cases, you are correct. it becomes a bit more of like trying to find either a regional equivalent or finding a way to translate it so that people would understand it. However, 9 times out of 10, you are translating basic bitch dialogue and just refusing to do it correctly.
Yeah.
This video comes in. I want to help you understand what translation, localization, and censorship actually are, and perhaps more importantly, what they aren't. Let me and some industry professionals tell you all about it.
So, I hate to immediately pause again, but this is another thing like a lot of people that do these kind of videos need to understand is when you're starting something like this, you cannot start from the perspective of everybody that I'm talking to is an idiot who doesn't know like what we're supposed to do here. You have to give people some grace.
Not only that, especially when it's like, okay, what is it? They'll quote unquote address it, and it's like, that's great, but what does that have to do with this specific translation we are addressing? And they just dodge the subject.
Yeah. Like that always happened with the Kobayashi one, where people would be like, "Oh, well, it's that there's more translations than just this one out there. Like that's fine. This one is hot fucking garbage. Why is this one hot fucking garbage? And why do we have to pretend to like it? Like, oh, well, there's other ones. I don't care about other ones. We're talking about this one, and this one,
especially
is hot garbage."
And then the Gamergate one, because that one's fallen off because the Kobayashi one was just so blatant. But it's like, I don't know about you, and I don't know about me, but I don't think Japan understands or even knows what a Gamergate is.
Yeah. For people who don't know, I believe it was Prison School, where one of the characters thinks a guy is oogling her, and she looks to him and says, "What are you, some kind of Gamergate weirdo?" It's like, what? You're gonna sit here and tell me that's in the original? I know for a fact that's not in the original. Shut the fuck up.
Not only is it not in the original, it's like, again, no Japanese person knows what Gamergate is because they speak Japanese.
Oh, somebody in chat mentioned it. My favorite is there was recently an anime where all the characters in English say Merry Christmas. And they put subs on screen that say Happy Holidays.
Yeah, that one was just so. Or no, even better, the Oniyumai one, where the person was talking about where the person had rewritten the MC's lines to be more about themselves, and they were like, I was trying to put myself into this character so that I could understand what they're going through. And literally everybody kept saying, okay, yes, but that's not what they're saying. Why did you do that? And they just kept ignoring everything on screen to talk about how they felt about it. And it's like, okay, but you're not the character?
Exactly.
I didn't ask how you felt. I just want to know why you self-inserted in a show that's not about you.
Oh yeah, I've also seen the one where the characters they're trying to call like this guy a lolicon, and for some reason instead of saying lolicon or doing the normal thing they do where they try and translate it as pedophile, they call him a misogynist instead, and it's like, what?
Or that one time in ReZero when it's like they specifically say, what is it? They specifically say Subaru the Lollymancer, and they translated it to Subaru the Kittymancer.
Yeah, that sounds so much worse. Holy shit. And somebody like translated it as that and was like, God, I did such a good job on that one. Like, no, you didn't. We're not doing this. You need to not do that.
For this video's research, alongside reading and watching lots of material about this subject, I reached out to several professionals in the Japanese to English translation industry. Not all of them wanted to be named, but rest assured the names and or tags of those who didn't want to be kept anonymous are in the description, and I encourage you to thank them all, not only for helping me out with this video, but also for doing the work that they do, because, as you're about to find out, translation can often be an underappreciated and sometimes even thankless job. Anyways, I asked everyone a bunch of questions about their experiences in the translation industry, about their views on translation and the discourse around it, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's thanks to their insights that I think I've been able to write what I'm hoping will be a good video to show to people who don't quite understand what translation is. Which, you know, is a dressed up way of saying, oh my god, I'm begging you, watch this video, and ideally the ones on the end card too, before you make a complaint about translation again. Oh my god, I am so tired of this discourse happening every other week. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and begin at the beginning, or more specifically, let's begin at where the heart of where most of the misunderstandings surrounding translation are.
For me, all translation is going to include a healthy dollop localization because you're just not aiming for equivalency, you're trying to connect text culturally, linguistically, and ultimately make a readable, easy to understand, accessible text that someone can enjoy, anonymous. We talk about this a lot. Nobody that actually really enjoys anime wants that.
Exactly.
They watch anime because it is Japanese. And they want an experience as close to Japanese as they can get. When you take their Japanese media and you say, I'm going to try and make this as English as possible, they don't like it anymore because now it's not Japanese.
Like, if you took a Japanese comedy series and then you basically gutted what is it? It's like that one time somebody made a joke series called was a joke for kids localization of Kill la Kill and called it Bully la Bully. It was hilarious because it was so stupidly ridiculous, and that nobody would ever want something like that because it's awful.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Nobody asked.
It should tell you where people's desires for anime are, where 9 times out of 10, people are going to refer to an anime by its Japanese title and not its English title.
Yep.
You never hear anybody, except me sometimes, call it Jobless Reincarnation. You hear them say Mushoku Tensei or MT. I think that maybe the closest you get is people saying JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but that's kind of a one.
What is it? I would say it depends on how cool the English title is in comparison with the Japanese one. No one's gonna freaking say Sorcerer Fight. We're all gonna say Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. Is that really what they call it in English?
That's what they call it in Japanese. It literally translates to Sorcerer Fight.
Okay. Fair.
And like, we're not translating it that makes it sound lame.
I mean, it does. I know it depends on the title, but it's still...
Yeah.
I don't think there is a single word that strikes fear in the hearts of Japanese media fans quite as effectively as localization. What a fun and often completely misunderstood word that is. So, what is it and why does it matter? And more importantly, what's its relationship to translation? The dictionary definition of localization is simply the process of making something local in character or restricting it to a particular place. And while that may sound like it's just a fancy way of saying that it means to anglicize something, in practice, it's actually a lot more broad than that. If translation is trying to convert words from one language to another, then localization is converting the sentiment and ideas behind the words.
So I actually talked about this before. I don't even think most localizers actually localize. I don't think we actually have a word for what they are trying to do. Because they are correct on the definition, it's trying to convey the sentiment. However, most localizers, if you look at what they're doing, they're not even trying to convey the meaning or the sentiment. They're just trying to convey the literal action that is happening on screen. And it doesn't matter if it throws away the meaning, or if it throws away the actual sentiment of what the characters are getting at, if it's a similar action, they're fine with it. I think probably a good example is, and it's not like a specific example from any anime in particular, but imagine you had a character who made a sexist joke, and the purpose of the sexist joke is the character is obviously a sexist. Well, the way the localizer will do is they will just take it and they'll say, okay, in this scene, this character tells a joke. So we just need him to tell a joke. And then they'll make him tell a knock-knock joke or something. And it's like, well, no, that kind of ruins the point of what we're doing here, what they're trying to do with him.
Yep.
Like, you have not actually conveyed the idea they were going for.
Not only that, it implies that he's so sexy. You want to actually make the sexist appealing by making them tell a not sexist joke. And so you have basically people rooting for a sexist character for like no reason.
And this is something I started to notice as I sat down and I started to look more into how localizers have been doing stuff lately. And I kind of realized that, yeah, they're more going for, can I convey the exact action than they are actually meaning or anything else. Which is cringe and gay. Also, thank you, Internet Zen. Oh God, Kendra, hate you so much for reminding me of the Prison School dub. As I recall, the backlash was so bad, the official release changed the dub. Yeah, no, they had to...
Wow, it's almost like, you know, again, the Gamergate thing, it was an American thing.
Yeah. And even in America, there were a bunch of people that had no idea what they were talking about. Because it's not even just an American thing, it's a specific subset of Americans. And people are like, what does this mean? What does it have to do? What's a Gamergate weirdo?
You basically had to be there to even understand it. So if nobody, and then people would look into it, and it's like, I looked into it, I still don't understand Gamergate, because that's basically the main sentiment of everybody who like talks into Gamergate. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. Why are we bringing up Gamergate in this? It's something about gamers and something about journalism. Like, what does that have to do with Prison School?
And not only that, out of every anime you could have brought Gamergate into, I don't think Prison School should be like the bastion of this, considering that anime is known for having a piss fetish.
I actually did. I'll be honest, I didn't know that about Prison School.
Oh, like it's literally all over the anime, and the ending is literally he pees in the air because the girl who liked him didn't want him to confess to the other girl because he had her panties on while he went to go confess to her, pulled him down. It was basically a replacement for cum. It was
fair.
Bad. It was so bad. It actually ruined the Prison School author's career. The ending was that bad.
I'm guessing you would say it's worse than Onimai?
Not bad. Okay, here's the thing. I would say did the author of Onimai recover?
I don't think it actually damaged him.
Yeah, then that one actually genuinely damaged the author's career. Yeah.
Fair.
Just did it.
Are you telling me if you had a chance to shove your fetish onto like a massive series that would be played all over television, you wouldn't do it?
I think the worst part is now, like, he's the example of what happens when a mangaka ends his series out of spite because he wanted to do something else. And then fans got mad at him because it's like, well, yeah, but you're doing this, and I don't like that you did this in spite a little bit, so maybe we'll watch your next series. And then his recent series got axed recently. So, yeah.
Fair enough. And then the other one was, thank you, Start Now. They translated Demon Slayer into French, Les Rodeurs de la Nuit. And it sounded so lame it hurt the sale of the book, and they reprinted it in English.
Oh.
To be fair, that's just French in general.
Which is funny because like France is like one of like the more popular anime like manga hubs. They actually appreciate shoujo there.
Also, I probably butchered that, but like, I don't care. I don't speak French.
Who cares? They're French.
I like my French viewers as long as they're speaking English.
It's
There
a
we
key
go.
step in any translation process, and not something restricted to, say, Funimation and Crunchyroll. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and say that one more time, just because there's an alarming number of people who seem to think that localization is just something done to censor anime. Localization is a step in the translation process. Officially sourced translations will do it, and so will unofficial sources like fansubbers. If it's translated, then it's almost certainly been localized to at least some degree, and that's not a bad thing. Probably the most well-known example I could offer you of how a great localization can do wonders for something is the Yakuza series, whose spectacular localization is at the heart of a lot of its overseas success. It's not only a testament to how important—
So, I always hate when people bring this up, and it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of news articles about that. How many actual people that played it know that it's changed in localization?
Not only that, so I don't know a lot about Yakuza, but even I know that most people prefer to watch the Japanese version because you actually learn some cultural differences. Like a good example is in Japanese, I think it was Same. I think it was, what is it? No, Saba. So there's a song called Same Same that went viral a while ago. But the thing is, in Japanese, I know a lot of you are fans of like Saba. Saba translates to shark. And the joke is they sing the song, but replace Same with Saba Saba. And it's like, that's a cool Japanese fact. That and one of the one of the dub actors was so bad at the Yakuza dub in the recent times that many people were just like, we're gonna opt out of the English one.
I believe it was Yonggi. I could be.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah. And the dub itself is hurting it, and you're like, well, the localization was good. Nobody's listening to the localization. And we actually have this, so I actually am really excited for, that one game did this, right? So have you ever heard of Snowbreak Containment? Which is the gacha that got censored to shit because of China for some reason?
Yeah.
So they actually early on announced that they would not be doing English voice work anymore for the game. And they actually showed statistics of how many players were using the English voices. And it was some like ridiculously tiny amount. And they were like, we're literally paying all of this money for English people to not use the English voices, even though they're on by default. People are actively switching off of the English voice acting in like droves.
Yeah.
And then you're going to sit here, look at people in the face and be like, no, you don't understand. People love localization. No, they don't.
What is it? It's like that one time we saw that one video by the guy who was talking about Jello Apocalypse a while ago. He was like, the sales for the Blu-rays are sky high because people love the dub. It's like, no, it's because everybody's been waiting for an official release of Lovely Complex for years, and they're buying it to watch it in sub because it's the only official way to own that DVD.
Yeah.
Like the dub being on there is like a paperweight.
It's like you guys clearly don't know what you're talking about. You just want us to believe it. People are playing it. People are buying these things in spite of the dubs, not for them. In spite of the localization, not for them. And you just really want to cope about it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
important good localization can be, but also about how localization and anglicizing aren't the same thing. It's also good proof that comedy is generally where localization is at its most noticeable, and this goes double for jokes based on puns and wordplay. Obviously, the humor of the pun, especially, is going to be lost if you don't localize it, so translators will often try to use the Japanese as a base to put in a similar joke that'll still be funny and understandable for an English-speaking audience. And honestly, there's nobody better at coming up with puns than game translator Blick, who told me about this. The intent of jokes is to be funny, and laughter crosses language barriers. One example I've heard of is Nabeshin's
But it doesn't, because you're sitting here trying to sell us on you changing it.
Okay, my thing about it is, here's the thing. Language does cross barriers. What does calling a guy a feminist have to do with that?
Yeah.
Because I know there was like one translation where a guy made a joke about how what is it, like how I think it was how this one girl wanted to be a wife, and then they just removed it. Like, they just removed the entire joke, and it's like, this game is old. It's gonna have old humor. You just translate it. It just shows us that there's old humor. That's how it is.
And it's just funny that you're sitting here saying, no, you don't understand jokes like past language barriers. It's like, but you're trying to sell me on us changing them. So they clearly don't pass the barriers very well, in your opinion, or you wouldn't want them changed.
Seeing a screening of the dub for Nerima Daikon Brothers. He complimented the ADR staff specifically for the fact that the audience left at the appropriate times. On the flip side, representatives from Kara were not pleased when the audience laughed at inappropriate.
So here's a thing I'm gonna kind of throw out, right? A lot of Japanese people are actually fine with dubs until somebody tells them what they are. We had this discussion the other day with Kojima and the dub of Metal Gear Solid 1, is when he saw players like playing it, and he heard the way the voices sound, he loved it. And then they brought in a guy who could translate for him on the fly, and he explained to Kojima what characters were saying, and it infuriated him so much, he demanded the translator be fired on the spot.
Yeah, that sounds about.
A lot of Japanese people come at it from the perspective of they're doing their job correctly. Every time, that's always the perspective they come at it from. So when you sit here and you don't do your job correctly, and then all they have to gauge what's happening is the audience reaction to it, yeah, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna think things are fine because they just assumed you didn't fuck up. In reality, you guys are always fucking up, and I don't understand why you insist on fucking up all the time. It's so weird to me.
Because they haven't said anything yet, so therefore we're doing a good job. And the thing, it's like it's like the stuff recently that happened with the union syndrome. It's like, well, they didn't say anything, so it's fine. And it's like, it's not fine. They changed it, and it took people literally screaming at the guy being like, hey, they changed your stuff for them to do it. And the problem was, it's just so egregious. And then you go into it, and I'm not someone who obviously covers stuff like that. But it's like, this guy's projecting, he's being weird about the characters, and just nobody has any idea because, well, just let the localizer do their thing. And it's like, no, it's creepy, it's weird, and it needs to be stopped.
I saw something pop up in chat. I don't really understand what it was. Anyways, a couple of supers really quick. Thank you, Nerdy Text and Accountant. What happened with the Onimai creator? Was it similar to what happened with the Rent-A-Girlfriend creator? No, nothing happened with him. It's just, if you watch Onimai, it's very clear he has a piss fetish. It's not that people pee themselves a lot. It's not a secret. Or they talk about peeing themselves, or it's, you know what he's into. Thank you, Jerome Morgan. Says, localizer friends trying to protect their online tribe. They do this using videos like this to create an atmosphere of doubt for getting rid of EN work. Very true. Thank you, Wolfsbane. Says, only normies like the dubs. Weebs only tolerate it. 100%. Some weebs don't even tolerate it. A lot of people just pirate their anime from fan subbers.
Yeah.
And then Internet Zen, question, why is Red Bar bringing up video games when this translator video is about anime? When did defending dubbed anime become defending localized video, which has been 1,000% worse recently? No, I think it's fair for them to bring this up if they're trying to make this argument, because there are a lot of Japanese video games that the same translators work on.
Yes.
For me, it's really not that weird that they're trying to bring this up.
inappropriate times in a screening of the Evangelion 3.0 dub, which caused the movie to get completely redubbed for the home video release. Anyways, I'm telling you all of this because I think it's really important to understand that localization is the translation element that allows anything to be translated, and that includes words and phrases that don't really have a go-to English equivalent. And while words like honorifics and tsundere might be the first thing you think of when you hear this, you might be interested to hear that this also includes a lot of words that seem as commonplace as hive, but that's a whole other can of linguistic worms. So then, if
You are coping really hard right now. I was gonna let you get by with the tsundere and stuff, even though I think most people agree you should just translate it as tsundere. Just
not only just translate it as tsundere, it's like you're gonna like the whole. It's like people will be like, "Oh yeah, no," it's like they wouldn't get it, and it's like that's the point of watching the show by the Japanese people, so that you learn it. You learn the culture of the anime sphere. Because then you'll learn the nerd culture. It's like if you wanted, what is it? It'd be like if someone was like, I don't think we could really sell Star Wars, so we're going to translate lightsabers as light sticks or glow sticks. That sounds really stupid when you really say it like that.
Yeah, and then people pretend like, no, it'd be normal. It'd be normal. It's like, no, it wouldn't.
Be like, it's called glow stick. What do you mean glow stick? It literally says lightsaber in the English translation.
Yeah.
Localization can be so important, then why does it freak so many people out? Why are there so many people so horrified by localization, even though it goes hand in hand with translation, to the point...
Real quick, before we continue, so you've seen all of it, right, Kendra?
Yes.
So chat, do we believe she is going to be honest and bring up exactly why people are so pissy with localization? Because even at the time this came out, like all this like shitty localization had already been happening. So do we predict that she will be honest and be like, so people are kind of pissy with localization right now because like a lot of the localizers are fucking up really hard? Or is she just going to pretend didn't happen? I didn't see it. It's not real. Let's see where she goes.
Where they insist on supporting translators and not localizers. Well, in addition to the fact that obviously there's a lot of people who don't really have a firm grasp on what localization is and isn't, it's extremism. More specifically, it's for kids.
Why do you say extremism? What are you talking about?
Do I need to point out the fact that at one point she tried to cancel this one guy who was like the popular she tried to cancel this one guy. I don't remember what he was, but it was a guy that I can't. This is gonna like sound so nonsensical. He helped he helped do a thing. You know what? Screw it. She basically tried helping a cancel campaign, and then when it didn't go in her favor, she slinked back to where she was going. And it's like, hey, you want to like address the elephant in the room? No? Okay. Okay, bro.
It's an entertainment company that dubbed several anime in the 90s and early 2000s, which includes, but obviously isn't limited to, a lot of the most popular anime.
We need to clarify this, right? Because there are some people out there who really despise the 4Kids dubs. However, a lot of people are not saying that these anime are bad because of 4Kids dubs. If they bring up 4Kids dubs, it's more along the lines of, these anime localizations are getting so bad, they're almost as bad as 4Kids was.
Yep.
And that's not saying that 4Kids in particular was extra bad compared to other people. That's saying that these dubs are so bad that they look like a bunch of boomers who are actively trying to prevent, like, kids from seeing the evil anime content. Like, you guys have got to work on this.
From the time, but despite the fact that they haven't been relevant in about a decade, that doesn't stop people from constantly bringing them up in debates about translation, no doubt.
And stop acting like them. Also, are they showing trans people in the background? Is that like a thing they're trying to do? Every time they say translation, they focus like really hard on the trans part for some reason. Am I the only one picking up on that?
I think if I remember correctly, because it's been a hot minute, sometimes she would like make a word. They would like focus in on a word, just for comedy's sake.
I don't. And I guess in the modern day, it feels weird then because she just keeps going translation. I'm like, what?
She like tends to overemphasize her words, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because of how unforgettable a lot of their creative choices were.
You look kind of down, Ash. Huh? Have a donut. That always cheers me up. Pika pika!
These donuts are great. Jelly-filled are my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that we remember 4Kids so clearly for the same reason that we shouldn't consider them a typical example of what localization looks like, because they're an extreme case. They're an outlier. In fact, I think they would only lose.
They're not, though. That's the problem.
Not only that, but you can't use... Okay, the reason why people meme the jelly donut thing is because, number one, in the earlier dubs of Pokemon, they would say rice ball. It's just this specific scene, and later instances, they were like, we're just going to edit all that out. That's why that gets memed to death. Not only that, but the reason why the 4Kids One Piece thing happened was, number one, they got that bundled up in a license deal with a bunch of other series, so they had to do something with that. They just realized they couldn't. And even then,
Well, because at the time, a lot of these companies had the idea of, it's a cartoon, so it's for kids. And then they started they actually sat down and started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece. I'm like, they pull out guns and kill people a lot. And there's actually a lot of smoking and blood and violence. We're trying to sell this to, 5-year-olds, so this is not going to work.
Exactly. And you can get away with at least Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit, because they're trying to also sell the card game, and even with the censorship Yu-Gi-Oh! Had, some of it did elevate the series, and others were just stuff that could be again, memed later on. The 4Kids One Piece dub is the actual outlier, because they literally could not work with it, no matter how much they tried.
Yeah.
As you can tell, they couldn't show Luffy being stabbed by spikes, so they replaced it with a suction cup.
Exactly. Or how they changed Smoker to Chaser, and they just removed his cigarettes, so now he just smokes smoke just leaks out of him all over the place.
That one is probably the only smart part about the One Piece 4Kids version, because he's literally... Okay, so in One Piece, there's these things called Logias, and they turn the body into the element. Because Smoker smokes, it shows that you don't see the Logia element immediately. But in the 4Kids one, they kind of make it more apparent. So that's one of the 4Kids changes I mean. It's every once in a while... Even though they would screw up the dub, you still got something cool out of it. It's just the fact that, again, the One Piece dub was such an outlier for how outlandishly bad it was, because, again, Lollipop Sanji.
Also, by the way, for years, I didn't realize that Sanji smoked, because my only reference for One Piece was the 4Kids dub. So I just assumed for years he just ate lollipops. And admittedly, I actually think it fits his character.
I mean, you're not wrong. He would do it.
I genuinely think it fits his character. And to this day, I just picture Sanji with a lollipop, and when I see him with a cigarette, it throws me off.
Oh my god. Was it someone brought up the best scene of the One Piece dub? Because they couldn't show Arlong putting shooting Bellamere dead in the chest. They just had him point his finger. Two scenes actually. They had Arlong shoot. They couldn't show Arlong shooting Bellamere, so they had him point her finger on him. And I love the delivery of the actor for this, because it's, "You're going to my prison for the rest of your days." And then the one time they couldn't show Crocodile stabbing Luffy in the Alabasta arc. They couldn't show him being stabbed in the chest, so they flipped him upside down to make it look like he's being hung by his clothes, and it accidentally makes it look like Crocodile's hanging Luffy from his crotch.
Also, thank you, Fullen, and been a Puddle member for 46 months. I've been streaming a lot longer than I thought I was. I'm getting old. Also, the One Piece rap. I don't care what anyone says, that's still the best anime opening ever made.
I'd argue the Tokyo Mew Mew one is the best one, but I got flack for that for my actual Tokyo Mew Mew friend.
Yo ho ho took a bite of gum gum.
What is it? Where is it? Here we go. I'm gonna show. Here's the
His
four
name's
kids.
Zoro. He's just like a samurai. I will never get over the fact that Nami's thing is they say Lady. Nami's not shy. It's like you just called her lady. Like, is that all you know about her? Is that she's got a vagina?
Which is funny because like early on, like it's very clear she's just good at sailing because she's a navigator.
Yeah. I don't care,
Here you go.
chat. One Piece rap is peak. Even Japanese people think One Piece rap is peak.
I sent you the image of the of Crocodile hanging Luffy. Dub versus 4Kids dub.
It just looks weird.
Yeah.
That looks so bizarre.
It does, but it doesn't show Luffy being stabbed. That's the key.
Feels like a lot of work too. I feel like you could have just like changed it so you just saw like his arm grabbing him, like you cut off the back end. They put up like a lot of work for some of these. Thank you, Internet Zen. Extremism. Oh no, she's going to go to the 4Kids as a fundamentalist Christian thing because they censor some things. Honestly, give me 4Kids dubs over modern localizers. 4Kids was goofy bad, not malicious. That's always been my defense of 4Kids, is that it was a bunch of boomers who they weren't trying to be malicious. They were like, we're supposed to make this appropriate for like 7-year-olds. So let's figure it the fuck out.
Exactly. Like, again, listen, you can't, if they got away with something, there's a reason why people made fun of the fact, I still think one of my favorite ones will forever be the fake 4Kids one of Higurashi, also known as Casey and Friends.
That would be so funny. Oh,
it was somebody made their own version, and like during the needle scene, they just put a PNG of a taco over it. I need to like show you that way because I think those like it was like akin to a bridge. I need to show you those scenes one day.
Fair enough. And thank you, Nerdy Text and Accountant. With the Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece 4Kids dubs, they also had to deal with U.S. regulations, guns and smoking not allowed for children's cartoons at the time. Yeah, that's another thing. They had like a bunch of people forcing them to censor stuff.
Qualify as localization, since the primary goal of 4Kids' work was never to preserve the original. It was to make it palatable to a young American audience, which means conforming to the rules of
that actually, by the definition you provided, that is localization.
Oh,
that's genuinely so confusing to me that she said that. By your definition of localization, you just described localization.
Yeah.
American TV, which, in case you don't know, can be very strict in what is and isn't allowed if you want to maintain a certain rating. Case in point, you could remove scripts from the equation entirely and 4Kids still has things like this going on. There's a nickname for dubs that—
I'll be honest, I fucking love the finger pointing in place of guns. It just makes me crack up every time. Especially with Bandit Keith, where they make him point his finger to his own head, and it's like...
My thing is, at least you could get away with the Bandit Keith scene because like for me, I didn't know there was censorship going on. So it looked like he may be pointing his finger, but he also looks like he might punch out like Pegasus.
And he
might strangle Pegasus.
Yeah, like, and he was like a big dude, right? You could imagine that Keith could beat the shit out of him.
Like, if they just cut the scene entirely, it would have looked stupid. Or if they changed the scene where Bandit Keith is like, please give me my stuff back, that would be stupid. Because that's clearly not what Bandit Keith is doing right now.
Chat keeps saying she sounds like Shoe on Head. Somebody says she sounds like Great Value Shoe on Head. This is a Walmart brand Shoe on Head.
Come on, guys. You gotta be nice.
Completely alter their source material like this, and it's hack dubs. And in case it wasn't obvious, yeah, rather than fully localized dubs, the entire 4Kids library is just full of hack dubs. And sadly, there's a whole lot of people out there whose view of localization has been soured by these hack dubs, but you just gotta remember that they're not—
You don't understand People that hate dubs have more respect for 4Kids than they do for you.
Exactly. I like the 4.
You're cutting out. I can't hear you. She died, chap. I have to send her a message.
Okay.
We didn't hear a single thing you said. You were completely silent the whole time.
Aw, crap. That explains that. What is it? Can you still hear me right now?
Yeah, I think you might have peaked your mic a bit, so.
Okay. What is it? The thing with like the Yu-Gi-Oh dubs is that the Yu-Gi-Oh dubs, even though they changed things or changed episode orders, you still got the general plot of things, if not an even better understanding of the general plot. Because I know for like one episode when Taya and like Yugi go to like the museum, in the original, it's not even portrayed as a date. That was a localization thing they did to make it, because of the whole like clearly Yugi he likes Taya. It's still in character for Yugi to do that, to treat it like a date. But the thing is that like it would be like, oh, me and Taya are going for ice cream, and there's just no shot of ice cream in the show.
Yeah.
Not emblematic of what localization is. Again, hack dubs aren't localization. They're hack dubs. Localization goes hand
By definition, they are localization. You just want to make a separation from localization because you think they're worse. But that's the thing. 4Kids is hated by people in the localization circles, and it's not hated because they're bad. We know for a fact that you guys hate it because you think they're like Christian conservative or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. This is like getting offended by the Sonic X dub, despite the Sonic X dub probably being the most accurate dub you're gonna get for a while.
Also, Sonic X was fun. I actually like Sonic X.
Oh no, 100%. Except Chris. I kind of wish he died in Minecraft. Brother, I hated Chris as a child. I still hate him now.
in hand with translation, and in fact, the two really shouldn't be separated since localization is equally as important. Like I said earlier, it's what allows even the untranslatable to be translatable. Self-proclaimed purists may argue that, necessary or not, any changes made from localization still make a translation less authentic than the Japanese, and that they'd opt for a literal translation instead, but, you know, I really don't think you know what you're asking for when you ask for a literal translation, because believe me, you may think that you want one, but I don't think you actually want one.
So I'm pausing this to say this. I hate when people use that argument of, oh, you want a literal dub, because they always say that when people are talking about like, I'm not going to say it. I'm like, people always say, I would rather take a literal dub over your translation because you do a terrible, crappy job. The problem is that they take that line literally, and it's like, you don't want a literal translation. Why would you want a literal translation? And it's like, that's not what they've said at all. They said, I would take your dub, I would take your literal translation over your official translation because you're doing a bad job. And they just run with that argument. And nobody's ever said that in all the years this debate even started popping up. Even back when dubs were like common, more like even back in the day with people watching dub and sub debates. That makes no sense.
I wish I would have paused this before you did, before we got onto the screen, because I was about to call out I was about to be like, I know exactly what she's going to say. She's going to bring up word structure and syntax. The word structure, the grammar. Yeah, we get it, that you're going to have to move the word structure around a bit, because Japanese language puts the words in different order. That's still a literal translation, just when you're correcting the syntax to English syntax. That doesn't make it not a literal translation. Oh, so I don't know who this is, Sachi Bell?
I'm pretty sure Sachi Bell. What is it? I'm pretty sure this is Gundam.
Fair.
Or not.
But you notice how they slip in characterization and creative choices of the author in between word structure and grammar? You're comparing the story and the author's intent to syntax. He's could not be more different if you tried.
And even then, it's like, okay, that's what you're there for, to explain to them what this means in English and have a translator on standby to do that so that they're like, oh yeah, this is what I meant. Now, yes, mangakas are busy, but considering the whole thing with I turned my childhood friend into a girl, considering the fact that during that people immediately emailed the author and was like, hey, can you like correct the record so that the English release is correct? And she immediately responded, it's not that hard.
Exactly. Thank you, Bracho Gato. At least 4Kids VAs were good. Now we get people like Yongyi or whatever.
You're not wrong about that.
4Kids VAs really did try their heart out.
Not only try their heart out, they actually, literally, they were actually multi-talented. You could not distinguish one actor from another.
Exactly. And then thank you, Angel's Advocate. All I want to say is the Kirby Right Back At You theme song is peak. That is all. It was pretty good.
It's true. Quite literally, the only time we will ever have a dub DDD voice, because any other version of DDD outside of Smash Bros. And Kirby's Right Back At You will be weird.
Yep. And then Aaronet Zen, I would argue that 4Kids is proper localization. The modern localizers are hack dubs. This scope is eye-rollingly pathetic. Machine translations pre-AI could fix the syntax without these parasites. I will say that a lot of translation software already had fixed the syntax of Japanese sentences.
In the same way you can hear someone but not be listening to them, so too can you translate something but not understand it, and that's pretty much exactly what a literal translation is. Let's look at an example. A few months after Google Translate launched in 2006, one optimistic journalist wrote, "One day, people will only need to know a single language for access to everything on the internet. A service like Google Translate is a great start to that end." The year is currently 2020, and YouTube videos where people put text through Google Translate a handful of times and then post the wacky results are pretty much their own subgenre. So how is it then that a service that prides itself in its accurate machine learning can mess up so badly and so frequently?
Because they don't care.
Also, number one, Google Translate never claimed to be accurate.
Yeah. Google Translate is like a half-assed translation software. There is a reason that if you use any service that translates English to Japanese, because there are actually a couple Japanese services that do this to connect English people with Japanese speakers, they use DeepL. They don't use Google Translate.
And even DeepL still has its flaws.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's someone who used DeepL. Like, what is it? The whole point of not using these types of translation apps is so that, you know, you do your job. If you're not doing your job, and I'm doing and what is it? If you're doing such a bad job that I actually take the transcript from the anime and get a better, accurate result, even with its mistakes in Google Translate, you're doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
After all, shouldn't these accurate machine translations epitomize what it means for a translation to be literal? Well, actually, that's the problem. That's why the quality of Google Translate continues to be so dubious, because it is making literal translations.
It's really not, though. Google Translate has basically just not been updated in years since it was actually made.
Yeah.
They kind of half-assed it when they started and then never touched it again. And this was a couple years ago, so maybe you could have the excuse of they don't know about how AI has been used in translation now, which completely blows this argument out of the water by itself. I'm not saying AI is perfect, but it does a really damn good job.
Yeah, listen, there's a reason why the whole Grok AI has taken over. Outside the occasional accidentally making a Japanese person say something sexual, it does a really accurate job translating a lot of Spanish, surprisingly, and Japanese.
Yeah.
And it actually, you can actually, not only you can understand what they're saying, you can even understand what probably type of slang they're saying in our own language, because it is that accurate. Not perfect, but accurate.
And I can already see like the argument against AI with sometimes Grok freaks out and makes up like hallucinate sentences. Yeah, that needs to be ironed out. But that's not like an inbuilt flaw of Grok. That's like machines fuck up sometimes. That's just a thing that happens. And you as a this is why you have like a secondary person go behind the machine to make sure it doesn't fuck up. Even companies that make like physical products typically have a guy that watches the line to make sure the machine doesn't freak out.
Yep.
Like this is just what we do with machines.
That's what happened with the author of Ancient Magus Bride. She got sick and tired of people translating it unofficially, that she was like, all right, her and the company were like, we're partnering up with an AI who's going to translate everything, and then we're going to have humans look over it and correct anything that needs to be needed, any grammar, any sentence structures, any speech bubble runovers, and then we're going to put it out.
Yep.
And from what last I heard, I haven't really heard any complaints, but I'll look into it again.
Fair.
That's how it is. And people got mad, but it's like, guess what? Number one, they want their extra money because Japan and the anti-piracy train will not stop. And number two, stuff like this where people are because now a lot more mangaka have like social media. People are literally tagging the author saying, "Hey, they screwed up your work. Can you like talk about this?"
Yeah, and some of them get mad. Like, people always act like Japanese people just are too soft to actually give a shit. You have to understand that a lot of times mangaka are typically a bit more passionate. That's why they're making these creative endeavors for, like, little to no pay, and why they work such long hours. They're genuinely passionate about their work.
Yep.
And so some of them, when you tag them and you explain to them what it was translated to, they do genuinely get upset.
Not only that, but there's also people nowadays that are kind of starting their own thing where it's like, hey, author, I heard you want to get your series published in the West. You want to sign up with me? And the author's like, heck yeah. Happened with this one new minor series called Horizon recently. Probably almost nearly got axed. And because the author decided to post a machine translation on MangaDex, people knew about it because the company told him to take it down, and now that guy actually has an American market. They get passionate about this stuff and they want accuracy. If I changed what you said just because you wouldn't understand, you would get mad. People just don't understand that for some reason because it's just, I guess you could say it's a form of infantilization and also trying to make people more stupider than they are because they're the superior people with a platform, and they just want to pretend to lose brain cells to get a gotcha.
Exactly.
To say it's making translations that don't take into account things like context and characterization, and instead just looking for the most likely one-to-one equivalent. And when certain words can't be found, well, they just leave them as is. And just so we're clear, this does not mean that a translation is literal just because you see some honorifics or a couple other Japanese words sprinkled around in there. Sometimes translators will leave them in, sometimes they won't. It's a really situational thing that can vary project by project, but
And it shouldn't be a situational thing. These are, like, cornerstones of how Japanese people speak that we don't really have a good translation for in other languages. So there's no reason for you to be removing them at all.
Yeah.
Especially because people know what they mean.
It's like, well, it's cringe. It's like, okay, but I didn't ask. You're saying another language is cringe.
Exactly.
Who cares? That's why you're translating it? It's like if I wanted to be cringed out by a corporation or whatever, I just wouldn't watch it. But I like Japan because Japan has its own culture, its own rules, its own language, its own dialect, and the whole point of, oh hey, san, kun, chan, all that type of stuff is there for a reason because that's how they speak. It would be like going to America and every single time you go into an office, you just remove the miss, Mr., Mrs., all that type of stuff because that's considered rude.
Yep.
Getting off topic. That topic being that when things are translated literally, finding the closest thing to a one-to-one word equivalent takes priority over things like subtext, emotion, characterization, or any other element that might have contributed to an author's choice of words, effectively just throwing all those elements out the window. Especially when it comes to fiction, word
I...
Well, I was gonna say, like, you say this, but then you're like, but I know the author's intent better than you do. No, you don't. Like, your entire argument is based on, well, the machine doesn't know the author's intent. Yeah, neither do you. What do you mean?
Is this that Morgana light novel from a while ago that got flack because one of the translators was like a creep to kids?
Ew, I don't know about that.
Oh, apparently one of the, I think it was Count or Phantom Morgana, they did a translation that caught flack because they changed one of the lines to say that this guy is a feminist. Meanwhile, this is set in like back in the day England. So it's like, I don't know about you, but modern slang has no pace in this medieval fantasy. And then one of the localizers who was defending it because they were the one that helped with it got caught sending dildos to kids, I think.
Well then.
Yeah. Listen, you can never reset the clock enough. Look it up. It went like tiny bit viral for a while ago. I don't think they even changed the translated line because the guy just got arrested. I don't even think he got arrested, but I do think he at least got some law enforcement because it got reported.
I can't find any kind of article about it, but I might just not be using the correct language to find it.
Okay.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
Okay.
Choice can be, and in fact often is, perhaps the most important vessel through which a story is told. If nothing else, it's definitely the one that people notice first and focus on more often. Case in point, the way you interpret a situation when you read that someone dashed versus someone ran, that someone smiled versus beamed. Context can generally help someone.
Nobody uses beamed anymore. We talk about that all day. Nobody says beamed.
Not only that, but it's like, my thing is you can use that in literature, but like, okay, that's not the same as genuine, this is a Japanese term, and then changing a Rakugo person into an onstage comedian, because that's not the same.
Exactly.
One decide between using words that are dynamic versus formal versus casual versus whatever else, but translating words literally just won't do that because literal translations, by their very nature, are devoid of things like context and characterization. And that lack of context is frequently going to end up being especially crucial because Japanese is a language that relies pretty heavily on context. In short, literal translations leave you with only words and not necessarily the ideas behind the words. At best, they'll leave you with a really awkward and dry sentence, but even that's pretty optimistic. There's a lot of irony at work when people claim that they prefer so-called literal translations because they feel it preserves the author's intent, because these are the translations that actually bleach out authorial intent the most. Obviously,
Hope. I'm gonna stick with it. Like, every time somebody says shit like this, it's very clearly Cope. You might think you like that thing, but actually, that thing is even worse than what I'm doing. Okay, well, I don't believe you. How about that?
jokes and puns and such are where this is the most obvious, but you don't even need to use them as examples to get this point across, since even regular sentences just sound like a mess when you use literal wording, to say nothing of the fact that they don't tell you anything about who's saying them and why, which can elevate some scenes and characters tremendously. There's a fantastic example of this in Sarah Moon's The Case for Localization video, and I'm gonna leave this video on the end card and a link to it in the description, because I would definitely recommend giving the full video a watch. Anyways, in the meantime, here's Sarah's example of this in action.
いいな。セーラー V ちゃんなんてさ、テストも関係ないし、悪者退治なんてスカッとしそうだし、それに比べて私は。いいな。セーラー V ちゃんなんてさ、テストも関係ないし、悪者退治なんてスカッとしそうだし。それに比べて私は。
The cherry on top of the you don't actually
This requires you to use like the absolute worst versions of literal translations you can find.
Yeah.
You can cope, you can see whatever you want to do about this, but this doesn't actually help your argument as much as you think it does. Because you're intentionally using like just really shitty Google Translates to make this make sense. Too much changed on both cases. Yeah, that's another thing is they don't show what the original is. Like, oh, if you're so confident in your argument, why don't you have like the original dialogue next to both of them?
Want the literal translation Sunday is that even if a translator and their editor decided to just say screw it and use a literal translation anyways, they still might not be able to because the medium they're translating in just might not let one fit. Different mediums of translation come with their own challenges that'll often require translators, editors, and ADR directors to get a little bit creative, you know? In manga, for example, you have a very finite space for fitting the words, and dubbing requires syllables and mouth flaps to be matched. Just to make sure we're clear though, this doesn't mean that mediums that have less limitations like subbed anime and even visual novels to a lesser extent are more likely to be more literal, because they're not. Spoiler alert, they're all fully localized too. And you know, this is all to say nothing of the fact that sometimes Japanese rights holders will make specific requests for how certain elements are treated. And while this is generally stuff like how characters' names get spelled or what the title is, it can still be anything. And since these rights holders, well, hold the rights, their requests are treated like the word of God. So, in conclusion, not only are literal...
You guys always say this. Nobody ever provides any proof that the rights holders have ever asked for any of this stuff to be changed. Never once. Like, no, you don't understand. Toei told us we needed to butcher it. Okay, where?
Okay, bro. Considering Toei has a stranglehold on like the Godzilla movies, being like Godzilla will never lose. That's a lie. They hated it so much. They hated one of the Godzilla movies so much, they basically changed all the rules to Godzilla for every foreign release forever. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, that sounds alright.
Translations the weakest kind of translations, but also because they're intentionally devoid of localization, it can be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get them to even fit within the medium of whatever's being translated. In short, they're a bad idea on all fronts. Okay, so at this point we've talked about translation and why you don't actually want literal ones. We've talked about localization and how it's not actually as scary as most people think, meaning that, at long last, it's time to talk about...
censorship and the agenda of the translation industry. Quote, people like to bring out their Dragon Maid memes nowadays, but one questionable line is hardly emblematic of the entire dub, let alone the translation and localization industry process as a whole. Okay,
off,
so you should be completely comfortable denouncing it then. Like just
That's why Chang, he's a singer. He didn't even sing for like nearly 10 years. What does he want to say on the dubbing industry? He hasn't done anything anime related in forever.
The last anime thing he did was he was in a Pokemon short called Pokemon Hisuian Snow in 2022.
That makes no sense.
He was in one episode. He was also in the new Fairly Odd Parents for one episode.
So I recognize Wai Chang because he used to be one of the he was one of the few people that would do anime covers, and he was one of the really, really good ones. And he was also viral for a while because he went on to do the English version of the Your Lie in April opening that went viral a while back because he got everybody else to do it with him because there's multiple singers in that song. And then he just dipped from the internet forever and then just suddenly came back being like, hi guys, I'm back to singing again. And it's like, yeah, everything kind of changed without you, so you're no longer popular.
He is a character in Fire Emblem Shadows, a character in Arknights Enfield. He was in one episode of Steel Ball Run as a character called Smith. He was in 2 episodes of Ultraman as a character called Rintaro. He's just listed as additional voices for Yakuza Like a Dragon. There's a couple of these that is just like miscellaneous voices.
Yeah. Only old school people will know who Y Chang is. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, well, he's trying to comment on anime stuff, and it's like, brother, you made a couple of viral anime songs and then dipped from the internet for like nearly a decade, and then suddenly came back like, guys, I think I want to say my opinion on anime dubs. Like, here's how old he is. I found his cover of when Nichijou, all the way back when Nichijou was still new, all the way back during 2012. That is how old he is. Yeah. That is how long he has not contributed to the industry.
But also, as I said, at the end of the day, if this is really where we're gonna go with this, just announce it and say it's a shitty dub. Go on, just say it out loud. It was a shitty dub. We should not have made it. Just go on and say it.
But if I do that, then I can't befriend the official dub people. And then I can't be my bestest of friends. And have a hug box.
Like, they always want to do this and just dance around it. It's like, just say it out loud. It was a bad dub. But you won't do that. You'll never do that.
Not Dimio saying why Chang, but not who Chang.
They ask me why Chang, but never how Chang.
Overseas anime fans saw tons of blatant censorship in anime back when hack dubs were at their peak in the 90s and early 2000s. This includes, but obviously isn't limited to, one of the most ridiculous instances of LGBTQIA+ erasure in television history.
How'd you guys meet then? We're cousins.
Can you just... like, we know what they're talking about here. Can you just say LGBT or something? Like, no. LGBTQIA+. First off, you didn't even say it right. Trust me, I've been down this pathway before. I know how you're actually supposed to say it. But second off, just stop. No more of the LGBTQ, whatever. Just no more.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that everybody kept memeing that they would add letters, and someone was like, you know what, I'm going to actually do that.
Yeah.
TIA+.
Even at the time this came out, the full acronym was LGBTQIAAPK+. And yes, I do know that. I used to be in like these dumb debates all the time over this shit. So I got really good at recognizing them.
LMNOP.
We grew up together. Huh?
We've been inseparable since we were born. We can almost read each other's minds.
Like best friends?
They seem to be very good friends.
But in the post-4Kids world, where hack dubs are exponentially more rare and companies generally worry less, if at all, about conforming to TV rating rules, the nature of what censorship can look like in translated media, but anime especially, has changed a lot. Specifically, we're going to talk about censorship as it relates to translated scripts. Visual censors or content changes are a whole other can of worms. Yeah. But anyways, for a lot of people, the turning point for the next era of censorship in anime was Funimation's Prison School dub. Specifically, it was an instance where Gamergate was referenced.
Whoa, pump the brakes, Arthur Fonzarelli. Have you got a stick up your ass? Or are you one of those dumbass Gamergate creep shows?
Yeah, not a lot.
What are you gonna say about it? You better just say it was bad and it should have never been done. Also, yes, she just skimmed over Fate. She says she's not going to talk about it, even though it's not Fates. It's well, I mean, there was Fates, was the petting minigame, but the bigger one she showed that had more like blatant censorship was definitely Shin Megami Tensei Crossfire Emblem.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. That's when I became aware of the discourse because people kept talking about how they censored it.
Oh yeah, they censored the shit out of it. For like no reason too. They just, I guess, felt like it.
And then they re-released it for the Switch and it was still censored.
Oh, so I can actually tell you why that is if you're interested. Like very shortly. Basically, whenever Japan re-releases a game in America, they actually they use the American version as the base model for the game in both Japan and America. Because the American version typically has every country's language rolled into it. So they actually start with whatever the American version was as a base.
You think that they would have all the languages in the Japanese one, though? That's weird.
Nope. The Japanese Japanese games typically release with only Japanese in them.
Weird.
A lot of people were big fans of this, and they claimed that Funimation was needlessly injecting politics into their translations. The controversial line was eventually removed in later releases, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people forgave them for this.
Have you got a stick up your ass? Or is that your pathetic attempt at talking to an older girl?
In fact, it actually had the opposite effect. Moments like it and Dragon Maid's infamous patriarchy scene seem to be at the root of a school of thought that started to emerge that this is censorship that's meant to promote a left-leaning political agenda, and that it's an industry-wide problem that happens fairly often, or at the very least that it's a problem within Funimation, who, in fairness, is one of the largest influences within the Western anime industry.
What are you wearing that for? Oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves, so I changed clothes.
If we're gonna...
So, by the way, the Lukoa one was one of the ones where my theory came from, that they have, as long as the characters are saying what is happening, it's fine. And they aren't trying to preserve intent or characterization. Because what actually happens in that scene is Lukoa shows that she's ditzy by saying, like, you know, people kept telling her to change and she didn't really understand why. And then Toru reveals that she's kind of insecure about how she looks because she says, her reply back is, maybe you should change your body next then. And it is subtle characterization for both of them. Admittedly, for Lukoa, it's not really important characterization, but for Toru, I think it is kind of important characterization to show her insecurities about it.
Yeah.
And it gets changed to just some stupid feminist talking point, and the only thing they preserved was her telling people told me to cover up, so I did. That is the only thing that is preserved across both lines.
And it also doesn't make sense, again, because they'll do it with specific series that are just like the fan service series. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to hear about feminist talking points with this, you know, this dragon lady whose literal partner duo in the show is a little boy that she sleeps with.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Again, prison school, the piss show. Or my girlfriend is a gal, and they talk about what is it? They talk about how men only come for their pleasure of a maid cafe, and literally the first episode is about how this guy wants to bang a slutty gal.
Be totally honest here, not all, but the overwhelming majority of these criticisms and...
Also, I hate to interrupt it again. Chat posted, Canada updated the acronym to MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+.
That's enough.
So, actually,
enough.
So I got in trouble with this one on Twitter, because would you like to guess what MMIW stands for? Because that is actually all together.
I know you told me about this one, but let's pretend I didn't hear it, and you can explain it for the chat.
MMIW is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. And I got in trouble on Twitter because I said, if they're a part of the LGBTQ now, are their pronouns was, were? and people were not happy with that one.
This also is really ironic because if you know Canada's history, number one, they still refuse to give the bones back to the natives that they put their own schools on top of. So it's like, way to be performative, bro. By the way, I'm not joking about that. They literally took the bones of indigenous people to keep in their colleges for workshops and stuff like that. And when they went to go ask politely, they were like, no.
Yeah. They say, nah, we're keeping them. We like having them.
So it's really funny that they're like, we're going to put missing and indigenous women on there. We're not giving the bones of possibly these missing or indigenous women here.
Also, I will admit, chat, I don't know what the G stands for, but 2S is actually another Native American thing. It means two-spirit. And it's basically an extra special way to say that you're gender fluid. It's the Native American way to say that you're gender fluid.
Uh-huh.
It's dumb. It's all dumb.
Why don't we just shorten it? The whole point of an acronym is to not be as long as a word.
Accusations are made in bad faith, as evidenced by the fact that they're almost always made anytime
this is the
language
line.
makes its way
Was
into a
it?
translation.
This was the tsundere one.
Yeah, the tsundere one.
They
where
call
they're
him
like,
a tsundere, and what does he say in the translation?
He says it was they changed tsundere to
fragile male ego.
Male ego.
I just remembered as you were starting to say it.
Yeah,
chat.
Guys,
if you have
to fragile male ego was good.
And the thing is, people found out about this not because they played the game. They found out about it because before the game even came out, the localizer posted on Twitter, translating tsundere to fragile male ego is the highlight of my career.
Yeah, that's the guy who got arrested. I think he got arrested, or he was the one that got caught. I tried looking for it, but I don't think it went as viral as I thought. But people were talking about how that guy got in trouble because he was talking to kids.
I'll have to see if we can find that at some point. I couldn't find it on like a quick search. Thank you, Internet Zen. The feminist doesn't denounce the smear by the localizer. School of thought is an odd way to saying the earliest case of pattern recognition pre-2020. And the Nerdy Texan Accountant, my guess is they choose to change the fan service animes because the general audience that usually watch shonen won't watch the fan service anime.
No, they'll watch the fan service anime and then pretend they didn't watch it.
Exactly.
What do you mean I watched the titty lady? I didn't watch the titty lady. I'm not gay like that.
So I changed clothes.
If we're gonna be totally honest here, not all, but the overwhelming majority of these criticisms and accusations are made in bad faith, as evidenced by the fact that they're almost always made anytime woke language makes its way into a translation.
How is that bad faith? The reality is, yes, some translators probably fuck up translations like in a right-wing way. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. However, the reason we notice it with woke translations is because you're really fucking obvious about it. Like, let's be real here.
Like, here's the thing. When a right-wing gay about it.
You cut out, by the way, before you could say anything.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When a right-wing person does it, it's cringe and gay. Like that time Eclipse told me about that time they translated the Baki. It was a fan translation of the Baki manga, and he liked Yujiro Hanma and got really upset when it was implied that Yujiro Hanma might be a little gay because everyone he sees is a woman to him. That's cringe, gay, and funny because everybody laughed at him for it.
Yeah.
When they do it, it's not funny. There's no joke. And it's literally the skeleton long text meme of you're not funny. You don't know how to meme. The left can't meme. And the right can't meme either, but you're worse at it.
Also, it's just you make up, like your group makes up literally 99% of the people doing this. You could sit here and say, like, there's a couple right-wingers doing it, and I'm not going to sit here and deny that, but, like, name me two. And you can't think of a single situation.
Not only that, but the difference also is that the translation change will be arbitrary. Like, again, the stuff with like the Yun dub, literal Japanese text that anybody could have just simply Googled. Because again, there's a reason why the meme Google it became a thing. Because all you have to do is just Google it and you'll understand, because there's a community of fans. Everybody in the American state who's into anime knows what a tsundere, a yandere, and a kudere is, and every other dere term. So to change it to fragile male ego makes no sense.
And it just sounds really fucking stupid. Like, quite frankly.
Example A. Apparently, the word misogyny is too political for anime. Example B.
Yes, because that wasn't what they fucking said.
Go back, because, again...
Also, look how quickly she went over that.
Again, to Love-Ru, the literal anime literally in the show, it is explicitly stated, the universe bends to make the MC strip as many women as possible.
Yeah.
Of course I'm gonna be weirded out that they use misogyny in basically what they would consider the most misogynistic anime in the world.
Like, he says, I won't marry someone who's no good at cooking. The line is, that's so old-fashioned. And they changed it to, that's misogyny. Yes, that is in fact a political change. Because it's physically not what she said. That does not carry the meaning of what she's saying. That is specifically your change for your political beliefs. And that's why you sped over this as quick as humanly possible. Because again, this is an anime where a bunch of women are trying to bone a guy. 3 or 4 of them are sisters. One of them is a lolly. All of them are underage.
Here's the thing. There's a couple of them that are sisters. One of them that's his love interest. Another girl who literally just does not like him because he strips her the most. One of them's just his actual sister.
Yeah. Who's the best one, by the way? Should have ended up with the sister.
And the one that was saying that's so old-fashioned was his sister.
Yeah.
So remember, it's misogynistic, but he still wants to bang his sister.
Exactly.
No, sorry. His sister still wants to bang him.
It's one of those things, like, you need to understand that, yeah, that is political. And you could sit here and pretend all day it wasn't a political change, but it was. We all know it was.
Oh my god.
Stop pretending it's not. It's really annoying when they sit here and pretend that it's not.
Oh my god.
Example B. The Somnium Files got a ton of backlash because a lot of people thought that this compliment toward the LGBTQIA+ community must have been shoehorned into the game by its localization team. Plot twist, this was also in the Japanese version.
LGBT の人って感性が豊かでセンスがあって芸術的な才能のある人がたくさんいるでしょ。それに人よりも苦労してるせいか共感
Did you notice that the review bomb was literally 200 downvotes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will give you. Those people were dumb. However, as you noticed, that was not a massive talking point among the people that are upset with localizations. It was literally a couple people.
Not
and
only
nobody
that,
agreed with them.
She's saying this is the Shin Megami game, right? She's like, well, they're only mad at the LGBT part. What about everything else? What about literally everything else in the room right now? We're not going to address that giant juggling dancing elephant? No?
Yeah.
Oh.
能力が高くて優しい人が多いような気もする。自分の生き方を自分で決めてるから強い芯みたいなものも持ってるように感じるし、その意味ではむしろリスペクトしてるっていうか、なんかちょっとかっこいいなって。
Yeah, generally, all of these bad faith criticisms absolutely crumble in the face of their scene's context, or even just a proper understanding of things like translation and the dubbing process.
You haven't done that. You showed us one where people misunderstood what the original scene was, and one where it absolutely did change the original scene's context. That's your 2 examples, and one of them is anti what you think it is. You don't bring up the dragon. You hand wave away Dragon Maid. You hand wave away Prison School, and then these are the only other 2 examples you have.
And even then, with the To Love Her one, she like brushed over that completely, didn't even show the scene or the context, but showed the full LGBT context. And it's just
she skimmed so fast on that one.
It's like, again, like these people just don't get it. It's like the context matters, especially when it's something that, like, again, it's always fan service series that people would quote unquote not care about because they're fan service series. When it's like, why would I want to hear a political message when the entire point of this series is to jack off? It's like, well, it's a fan service series. Yeah, and I don't want to hear politics in a series where I'm meant to jack off.
Exactly.
Which, as I mentioned earlier, requires mouth flaps to be matched. In fact, if you want to learn more about this issue...
By the way, we need to stop with the mouth flaps argument, because even 4Kids found a way around that. 4Kids found a way around that.
Well, they're a hack club, so it doesn't count.
Like, they were actively animating out cigarettes and guns and other shit from One Piece. They did so much work on one of the guns where they changed it from just pointing a pistol at somebody's head to like this weird spring hammer mallet thing that was actually animated. They were like so high key reanimating stuff, and now you're sitting here like, no, they have to match the mouth flaps now. No, they don't. We can animate that shit out. We have for years.
I can't remember the video, but there was a time where at one point they considered, because this was around the time when the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zextal dub was still around, they considered getting the original Japanese broadcast to be able to edit the lip flaps and like extend out scenes. So that was a thing they almost did at one point, and they did not do it because at the time they considered, oh hey, remember, cinematic music or music cues that play with these scenes that extend out or shorten for a period of time. If you do that, it ruins the entire scene. So that's why they scrapped that idea altogether. If the fact that it was a considered idea means anything, it shows that they could do it. They just also know that, get this is still kind of an art, and they also don't want to make too much work for themselves that is just unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
As it relates to dubbing anime.
Also, a couple more supers. Thank you, Internet Zen. On average, the right doesn't inject their meme speak into their translations because they give a damn about doing a good job, not pushing the message. I think a lot of them are also afraid they'll get fired if they don't do a good job, because they're already kind of in hostile enemy territory, as it were. Thank you, Tella. Notice that the presenter, added letters. Yeah, no, they're putting more in it. And then Internet Zen again says, I've heard of the Somnium Files was bad, including LGBT praise was like 0.14 out of 15 things wrong with that game. It's so small the dub barely comes up. I did not see much excitement for AI the Somnium Files. Like, at all. Just in general. I think it's perfectly acceptable to think that maybe the game got negative reviews for more than just a character said LGBT once.
Specifically, I would highly recommend the Cartoon Ciphers, our English dub censoring anime video, which, you guessed it, I'll leave on the end card and in the description. In any case, yeah, the House in Fata Morgana, Bofuri, To Love Ru, these are only a few of the many instances of bad faith accusations that crumble when you learn about things like context and the translation and dubbing process. So at this point you may be wondering, okay, so if bad faith criticism makes up the overwhelming majority of censorship and agenda pushing claims, then, well, what about the ones that aren't? What about things like the Gamergate line, the patriarchy line, or even Netflix Evangelion? Well,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Obviously,
okay, was it so I remember that one because for some reason she brushes over that. In the original Evangelion, and even in the original dub of Evangelion, Kaoru says straight up to Shinji, "It's because I love you." And then when the Netflix did the redub, they were like, "It's because I like you." And it completely changes the entire context of the scene. And they were like, no, he just says outright, "I love you, Shinji."
Yeah.
And so people were like, why did you change that? It is like so well known across the entire years of Evangelion, he likes Shinji. And they just removed it for, like, no reason. But for some reason, despite literally everybody saying, this is a problem where they keep editing and censoring stuff like this. It's not really that big of a deal. It's like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, you just spent an entire rant saying, well, they added LGBT in the original Japanese version too. Sees an example of them editing out in the American dub, and it's like, it's not that bad, guys.
Yeah. This seems like something you would... this comes back to what I said just a minute ago, right? Like, can you not just say this is bad, right? Like, I don't understand why you just refuse to acknowledge that some of this stuff is bad when it's on your, quote-unquote, your side. Like, it's not that hard to just say, yeah, no, you guys are right. Like, this was fucked up and they shouldn't have done that. Anyways, other stuff. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Bad faith accusations that...
Some people still think the Bofuri dub cut a lewd joke, even though the scene in question is effectively the same as the Japanese one, and had no, I can never pronounce the word, content, even in the original JP dub. It's nuts how manufactured outrage disinformation can have such a lasting impact.
Crumble when you learn about things like context and the translation and dubbing process. So at this point you may be wondering, okay, so if bad faith criticism makes up the overwhelming majority of censorship and agenda pushing claims, then, well, what about the ones that aren't? What about things like the Gamergate line, the patriarchy line, or even Netflix Evangelion? Well, while different translators obviously have differing opinions on some of the more specific...
There were a lot of differing thoughts and opinions on the patriarchy line. Specifically, some thought it was fine, others weren't big fans. Many thought the line was changed in Dragon Maid's DVD Blu-ray release. It wasn't. That's the problem. If you have a single translator who is respected in the industry, who says there was anything appropriate about the Dragon Maid line, 100% I think they deserve to be fired on the spot.
Yeah.
It's literally completely indefensible, and all of you just constantly come up with excuses to defend it. So yeah, I do think you guys probably suck, and you probably need to be fired. Straight up. Like, how are you supposed... I genuinely want to hear their explanation of why they think that's appropriate. It changes the scene completely.
Specifics of these examples, for the most part, the translation industry aren't big fans of these examples either. In fact, as though to prove that, 2 of the 3 examples that I just mentioned saw later revisions. Prison School, of course, I
would like to point out the people that were involved in both of these are still major heads in the industry that still regularly get work and make up the bulk of this company's like major translators. So yeah, you can sit here and cope all you want about the industry doesn't like these either. Yeah, well, they keep hiring them. They've never not hired these people. They work on like almost every single anime project these companies get actually get a hold of. So like, what do you actually mean when you say that the industry doesn't like them? And yeah, chat has it right. The industry doesn't like these examples because it proves that they're pieces of shit who don't actually care about what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's why they get mad. That's why people kind of like, that's why people are going to like other companies for this type of stuff. There's a reason why stuff like Netflix and Amazon are like rising in like the dubbing sphere, because they have their issues too. We just saw the Evangelion one. But it's like they're still doing their job and they still have people that are actually, trying to actually not get fired.
Yeah.
Whereas Funimation is like, no, we're still on the top, everybody. We're going to still make it. And then all of a sudden it's like, where's our fan base? It's like, you're old, bro.
Exactly.
It's time to go out back.
I already touched on earlier, and Netflix Evangelion, or at least sort of, the "You're worthy of my grace" line was quietly changed to affection in the subtitles a couple of months ago. The dub still says grace, but it's nonetheless hard to imagine that this change was made for any other reason than the backlash that this line, more than the rest of the series, received. I'll direct you toward getting the Robots Queer Erasure and Eva video if you want to learn more about that. Again, in the end card and in the description. But anyways, back to my main point. Almost every translator, editor, and ADR director that I spoke to was quick to point out that even if they wanted to use their work to promote an agenda, between the eyes of their editors, actors, directors, and the fans, it'd be extremely hard for them to get away with it, and that's to say nothing of the tremendous risk they'd be putting their career at. And all for what? To change the wording slightly in a single scene? To quote Nathaniel...
Yes, because guess what? Japanese people don't speak English because they speak Japanese.
Also, what risk are you talking about? As I just said, all of these people still have their jobs. There was never a risk.
Yep. Again, there was the same thing that happened with my childhood friend as a girl. Every single head at the time was like, yeah, approve the fact that they changed this gay yaoi into basically a straight story because they wanted because the person thought that the love interest was trans, and so everybody was just kind of like, no, this is a gay love story. And they were like, well, I asked my trans friends and they said it was okay. This is really easy stuff. This person was really open about it too, until everyone again contacted the author, and the author had to actually personally make a statement and is like, that's not what I said. I contacted the company to change it back.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And keep in mind, that was years after this video came out. It's really, really freaking easy.
Quote Nathaniel Hiroshi Thrasher, to realistically promote an agenda, you need the story to support it on a thematic level. Otherwise, it's just a bumper sticker, and literally nobody has ever had their mind changed by a bumper sticker. Whether it's coming from a business or a fan-subbing group, a translation is an interpretation of the original language. And by virtue of being an interpretation, even the best translations can never give you a 100% authentic experience the same way already knowing the original language can. And I know that sounds scary, but that's...
The problem isn't that they can't. The problem is that when people bring up that you can't, all you do is you kind of shrug your shoulders and you're like, well, it's just never gonna happen. You don't even try.
Was it not only that, but I also think it's very telling about how she went on a whole rant being like, yeah, no, here's like a video on why like the Shinji line being changed is really important. But like, screw the patriarchy line.
Yeah.
It's like, you only care when it's you, despite literally everybody saying, I care just in general.
Yeah. And because if somebody came up to me with like a line that was absolutely butchered by a right-winger, where somebody was like, yeah, no, Trump's great, or some bullshit like that, there would be no like fight for me about like, oh, what's the context? Why is that? I'd be like, that sounds really stupid. I highly doubt that's in the original Japanese. They shouldn't have done that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and get in a fight and try and come up with excuses to defend it like you guys. I don't understand why you guys are so insistent on defending it. When you can't just, for some reason, you can't just go, yeah, no, you're right. They shouldn't have done that. That's kind of cringe and gay. It's so annoying.
No, I can't, because they're my friend. And I don't want to insult my friend. Yeah. I want my industry points.
Oh, they're all so convinced that like they're really doing something. It's weird.
They're convinced because they think, oh, well, my friend is in the industry. They do that whole thing, what is it? Appeal to authority, but also just because they're friends with the people in the industry. And it's like, well, I can't go against my friends, these Hugbox people. So I'm just gonna, the people don't know the friends like I do, therefore. And it's like, you're so freaking cringe when you don't have to be. That's not your friend. That's someone who's gonna betray you in 5 years.
Just like they did to other people in your industry, they'll call you a predator or some shit, and then bury you. With that, it becomes more convenient for them to get points that way.
And they don't realize it because every single time they think, well, that's not me. I'm not like that guy, until they're that guy. And it's like, what do you mean? I put out a Google Docu saying that I wasn't that guy.
Yeah. Like, I hate bringing up the Vic Mignogna stuff because it's been so long at this point. But you do have to like really realize that this guy did nothing to anybody in this industry, but apparently be super fucking nice to all of them. They still burned him at the stake.
And they even did it maliciously because because not a lot of people remember this. it started with Anime News Network, or ANN, and they specifically went around grabbing photos of people that consented to taking photos with Vic. And then when those fans came out and was like, hey, I didn't consent to you not only taking my photo, but blurring my face to make me them, take them down. And they just didn't.
Yeah.
Monica and them came after that. Like, Monica and Jamie came after all that came out. But, like, it all started because they took photos of these people without their consent. And it was like, I didn't ask for that. Take my photo down.
Yeah. Like, you have to, that's the people in this industry. They will burn them all. They will burn anybody down. And they don't really need a reason to do it. They'll just do it.
Yep.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that when something is translated, there's always going to be room for interpretation, which is always going to put a bit of a disconnect between the versions in the original language and the translated language. This is also why different translators will hardly ever produce identical results. Things like their unconscious bias will come into play, which can only further muddy these already messy waters. So, to sum up this section of the video, I guess, the presence of censorship and agenda pushing in translation is a pretty nuanced issue because there's just never any two.
Why is it nuanced? Like a genuine question. Why do you believe censorship is a nuanced question? Why can't you just say it's bad? Stop it.
Not only that, but you can't say it's nuanced because here's the thing. They'll never do it with popular series. They never do it with popular series because if you do it with popular series, you're going to get a lot more backlash. Like, you're never going to see it ever happen with Dragon Ball. If it does, it's going to be done in a way. Like, a good example, the tractor scene from Dragon Ball. It's funny because, yeah, everybody loves that scene because it's genuinely a funny scene and it's like a kind of like a DBZ abridged type reference. Or say something like JJK or Naruto or all these series. Because if they do it, they're gonna get more pushback and backlash, and they're gonna be made fun of just as much as 4Kids was made fun of. But nobody's ever gonna talk bad about the harem series. No one's gonna defend a harem series. Harem series are offensive, Coomer. Just accept it. Again, like Evangelion. They did it with Evangelion, got so much backlash that they had to change it.
Yeah.
And it's like, y'all are defending it until it affects you. Whereas I'm defending it on the board because it's unacceptable all around.
I do really like that they bring up, well, we changed it. Yeah, after, like, you got shit on for months over it. You didn't change it on your own. You guys didn't, like, dog on it in your industry and be like, hey, we're going to have to change this because you, like, fucked up that translation really bad. You had to get dogged on by the public. That's the only reason you changed it. And it's really cringe that has to be the way this works.
Exactly.
Situations which are perfectly identical, and as we've already discussed, translation isn't some machine process where every word will always fit perfectly. You know, it's messy, it's misunderstood, and nobody's gonna get it right every single time. It sucks, but that's just the way it is. Not all, but certainly most censorship and agenda-pushing accusations are made either in bad faith or just from a lack of understanding. And also, sometimes people are just looking for an excuse to dunk on Funimation. Obviously, I don't have time to sit here and pick apart every single case of these accusations being made, but hopefully I've equipped you with enough knowledge to look at them more effectively when you encounter them. So now that you hopefully have a much better understanding of translation, localization, and censorship and what they actually are and aren't, hopefully you'll bring that knowledge with you next time you see a questionable translation. As a reminder, it's always worth getting context before you judge whether or not a translation choice is particularly good or bad, but regardless of how you feel about a translation, you should still never...
She is coping so bad.
You also gotta remember, Funimation's dead now.
Yeah.
I learned nothing from this video.
What's bad is we still have 10 minutes, chat.
Oh, beautiful.
I can't imagine she has much going on in these 10 minutes but ranting, because I feel like we've already touched on what she was trying to touch on.
Yeah.
threaten or harass the translators, editors, or ADR directors over it. Not only is this just pointless and aggressive, but frankly, translators generally have enough problems even without taking into account messages from angry people on the internet who probably haven't even familiarized themselves with the work that they're criticizing.
You guys shouldn't complain about how we're bastardizing everything. You should complain about this stuff that we want you to complain about.
It's like, I mean, I would, but you got to do your job first before I can actually criticize that part.
Yeah.
In order for me to criticize and help you in this area, you got to fix up this area. It'd be like if you're a teacher and you're seeing this kid throw football in like kids' faces, and it's like, well, you should get a doctor on this. It's like, I don't need a doctor if you could stop getting that one kid to stop throwing a ball in my kid's face.
Exactly, yeah.
While censorship and agenda pushing are definitely the most complained about aspects regarding the translation industry, they really shouldn't be, not just because, well, as I've hopefully just taught you, it's generally just nonsense, but also because of the abysmal state of pay and credit within the industry. It is extremely difficult to make a livable wage solely off of translating Japanese media. In fact, by the standards of most US cities, it'd be downright impossible for all but a small number of them. The Canapa Effect has an absolutely fantastic video that goes more in depth on this problem as it relates to Crunchyroll, who, while they're certainly not alone in hardly paying their translators, are nonetheless by far the biggest offenders of this, with their standard pay being $80 per episode. This isn't only an obviously low number in general.
This comes up a lot in the translation discourse. We will defend you and the amount of money you believe you deserve to make when you actually start doing your fucking job.
Not only that, but the thing is, you got to remember, Crunchyroll started as a piracy site, and the guy who did this literally was like, hey, can you do it for this much? Nobody knew that anime was going to take off like this. You should have negotiated your contracts better. And to be honest, you can still negotiate your contracts. Well, I guess now with AI, you can't really do that anymore. So it's like, we got to take what we can get. And it's like, no, you don't. Just choosing not to because you don't want your job on the line.
Yeah.
But it's also nowhere near proportional to the amount of time and effort that generally goes into a single episode, which can range from a few hours to a whole day. And remember, a lot of these are simulcast subs, so these translators are on a super tight deadline all the while. I'll leave a link to this video.
You chose to simulcast. Nobody asked for it.
Not only that, but it's not as tight of a deadline as you think it is. So what they'll do is they'll give the person, because this happened recently with Trigun Stargazer, they'll give them an episode ahead of time with the specific lines that need to be translated. And with that episode, it was so bad they accidentally aired the they accidentally aired the how to even explain this? It was the episode how they have it timestamped where the translation will start, and they accidentally broadcasted that for the English market. And it was like, oh, so how did this happen?
Yeah, they broadcast the version with like the all the notes and stuff on it instead of the.
Oh no, not all the notes. I mean, they just no animation.
Oh.
It was literally like, because like last week people saw the opening and it's like, hey, so like why is the opening different? And it's like, oh, that's the Japanese one they send when because it was simulcasted. And they were like, that's the Japanese one they write before you even submit it. And it's like, how did that happen? Or that time they had next week's episode. What is it? It was during the ReZero season recently where they accidentally broadcasted the following week's episode instead of this week's episode.
That sounds about right for them.
That's not even the deadline. That was just them screwing up really, really badly.
Yeah, sounds about right.
on the end card and in the description because I would definitely recommend giving this one a watch. It's extremely informative, and frankly, with Crunchyroll setting themselves up to be the largest name in anime exclusive streaming, it's especially important for them to be leading by example. That being said, just to clarify, Crunchyroll is not the only company that's known for not paying their translators very much. Even Sentai, Funimation, Netflix, God, pretty much any streaming service that you can think of, none of them are known for paying their translators particularly well. It's just that Crunchyroll here is a particularly appalling case. In fact, Kanapa told me that in the aftermath of his video, which at the time of writing this has almost 500,000 views, translators have been sharing the video among their communities and prompted the sharing of even more information. In the future, more translators will apply for Crunchyroll while knowing that they're worth so much more. But you know, I cannot talk.
Okay, how much do you actually make?
Do something about it.
Well, but this is another complaint I typically have with these when people say they don't pay me enough. Okay, how much do they pay you? Well, not enough. Okay, how much is not enough? How much do they pay you? And they just won't actually give you an answer. Because is it because if you told me the answer, I would find out that a bunch of people actually make way fucking less than you do? And then I might not be as sympathetic with you?
Yep. Not only that, it's like, again, are you going to do something about it? I'm not saying you all have to like get on strike every single time, but like we've seen Crunchyroll, like their motto was they send money to the anime industry. They redesigned their entire building to have the basically little Tokyo, New York style tourist destination. And you basically have that for your lunchroom now, but they can't pay you enough. That's not suspicious at all. You're not calling it out. You still enjoying lunch. There was one actor who straight up had his mail thrown out just because he didn't claim it on time.
Yeah, that sounds like something they would do. You said you're gonna look it up really quick. Oh, Kendra's doing a thing. Fan translate it, do it for fun, do it for hobby. That's the thing, a lot of fan translators do it for fun. I'm not saying you have to, like, do your job for fun, but you act like other people aren't willing to do this. Tons of people are. Low pay is wide attracts worthless scum. I still want to see the exact pay amount because none of these people will ever tell you how much they get paid. They just refuse. While we wait for Kendra, thank you, Internet Zen. The shitty gaslighting attempt was made in 2021. Yes, I can safely say it did not work. Career risk in 2021? There was no risk. Exactly. Thank you, Toa, for the 5. It doesn't take a conspiracy theorist to get a fish to swim downstream. Yeah, pretty much. Internet Zen. Have enough problems. Listen here, you disingenuous 70-cent internet streetwalker. Translators deserve less pay because their work is garbage. Translator work is quite low quality these days. And thank you, Jerome. This is why piracy and fan translation are rising. Exactly.
The funny thing was, had they did their job properly, it would have actually been on the rise.
Yeah.
There would have been hiccups, maybe a mistake here or there. Like the next week's episode thing, that could have been passed off under normal circumstances as, dang, a technical error. But because Crunchyroll is full of... I can't even say what I want to say. I just ran up some stairs. Basically, they're full of technical stupid heads. They can't do their job right, so everybody thinks all they do is malicious. We all remember the Witch from Mercury the Witch from Mercury sub that had it translated from Crunchyroll, then retranslated again through Amazon, and it accidentally said one of the characters' names was nigga.
Yeah, that's about right.
No.
About the low pay trend throughout the industry without also bringing up something huge that really hit the public's attention literally as I was wrapping up this script, and that's Amimaru. More specifically, it's the fact that it was recently publicized that they've been paying their typesetters a rate of $1 per page. Yeah, $1 per page. And if that sounds ridiculous to you, good. It should sound like that because it is. I don't want to dwell on this for too terribly long because really, if I wanted to, I could make an entirely separate video about Amimaru drama because believe me, there's plenty to say about it. But the short version of the story is that Amimaru is a business that employs people from all over the globe to translate manga. Notably, they've been known to be contracted by Kodansha, Futekia, and Manga Planet, among other companies. But Kodansha is nonetheless the main one that I want to draw your attention to since, as a reminder, it's one of the largest publishers in Japan. An anonymous Futekia employee emphasized to me that 1, Amimaru generally isn't well liked, even within the industry, and 2, while Futekia, Manga Planet, and Kodansha have all contracted translation work from Amimaru, that doesn't make their freelancers employees of any of the aforementioned brands. Or more specifically, they couldn't be even if they wanted to, since Amimaru makes its freelancers sign either a non-solicitation or non-compete clause. Again, if this sounds ridiculous, it's because it is. Not least of all because while employees of Futekia, for example, can talk about their work and put it on their resume, Amimaru freelancers just can't do that. And that leads me to the next problem I want to discuss, and that's credit. More specifically, the occasional lack thereof. For bureaucratic reasons that uncoincidentally never seem to be spelled out plainly, it's not unheard of for some projects, such as Amimaru's, to just not credit their translators, which really strikes me as weird because they're arguably the most important cog in the bringing Japanese media to other countries machine. I've heard speculation.
You're not. Fan subbers are.
Yeah. Number 1, you wouldn't even translate this if it didn't get big. And number 2, the reason why you're not credited isn't because, oh, you don't deserve credit. I understand if you did a good job, you should have credit. But the thing is you're not the author.
Yeah.
Editors deserve credit. Authors deserve credit. People who do all the art and the actual hard work are the ones that get credit. As much as I understand that you should at least be able to put it on a resume, that I could understand, but you don't just really need credit because you're not the author. It's like, oh, well, I'm translating the author's intent, but at the end of the day, you're still not the author.
Yeah.
I don't go to Akira Toriyama's translator, I go to Akira Toriyama.
On potential reasons why this happens, but in the absence of any hard evidence pointing to any of them, I don't want to dwell on any of these theories for too long at the risk of detracting from the main point, which is that rules like this are already absurd enough on their own, but they're somehow even worse when the translators don't even know for sure why they're being implemented in the first place. Perhaps even weirder is the fact that there's even some projects that flat out don't let their translators talk about their involvement on social media or put it on their resume. Why won't they let them do this? Again, bureaucratic reasons that never seem to be explicitly spelled out. And speaking of saying
they don't want to be tied to any of you people.
Not only that, but like, again, you have so many controversies in this space. Just no. And again, the fact that we see modern translators and how they go around bragging about changing and stuff like that, yeah, I don't want you to talk about it. I don't want you ruining my reputation because you want to own internet nerds.
It's genuinely just so funny to me that we just watched an entire video of you saying how much people hate translators and then going, and to top it all off, industries don't want to be like publicly associated with us. Oh yeah, I wonder why that is. Wonder if it has something to do with, you know, you guys being annoying fuckers who everybody hates.
Like, what is it? Freaking look at the whole thing with Katrina. Nobody hated, like, at least before you could argue, like, oh, you know what? Maybe I am being unreasonable. Katrina literally set everybody back 100 years.
Yeah. And none of you called her out. Literally none of you.
It took a controversy of something else for people to be like, I don't think I can stand Katrina anymore.
Yeah. Like, you guys just... We can't even be like, well, you know, at least they're trying to call it out. They're not. None of you are.
Because you have no backbone. You have no backbone.
Thank you, Chaos. Says, careful, Kendra, your hood is showing, lol. Tola says, hell, in college I programmed something for someone for pay and explicitly said, do not put me in the credits. You may infer from that as you will. And then Internet Zen says, most fan subbers were doing this as a hobby. $80 an episode for what is a hobby is perfectly acceptable. Little League umpires who are at much higher risk for a side gig don't make $80 per game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, you could say all of this stuff you want. I don't think you guys understand how much everybody else makes, like, in the real world.
Not only that, but if you make $80 per episode, number one, if you raise the price like that, guess what's going to happen? More standards are going to kick in. So either you do a good job or you genuinely will be at risk of being fired.
Yeah.
Things plainly, I want to emphasize something real quick just to make sure we're on the same page here. While this is a problem we know exists within Amimaru, it's not a problem exclusive to Amimaru. It's just that, like the Crunchyroll example I just mentioned, Amimaru represents a particularly egregious case. While I unfortunately can't go into specifics to protect my sources, I can at least tell you that I spoke to plenty of people who've never done any work for Amimaru that have nonetheless encountered this exact same problem, but from other companies. I wouldn't necessarily call this problem super prominent within the translation industry. Like, it's definitely not as prominent as the low pay trend, since for the most part that's an industry-wide problem, but the fact that this problem with credit exists just in general, and that it's not even like an isolated issue or something, you know, right off the bat, that's a problem. In any case, every single person I spoke to for this video got into the translation industry because they were interested in Japanese media. Every single one loves what they do, and some of them become some of the biggest fans of the projects they work on. Could you imagine putting all those hours into translating a single project and then just not being able to see your name on it anywhere, and also not...
Yes. I understand where you're coming from, but again, this is a situation where I don't think you understand what the rest of the world is like for everybody else.
And understand that, but you didn't write, because this is a good example. Here's Penguin Drum. This is by Ikuhara. You didn't put in the work to write it. All you're doing is translating what the characters are saying. You are not Ikuhara. You are Ikuhara's translator.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares about Ikuhara's translator. They want to hear what Ikuhara has to say. They want to hear what Toriyama has to say. Now, you are important, and I will acknowledge that. But again, you're not really the important cog in the machine. The author is, and the author will always be the most important. Second to that is directors and animators and all of that, because they go on to actually adapt the person's work. I do not care about who you are. That's not me being rude. That's just how it always will work, because nobody cares about the dubbing actors of the specific country unless you live in that country. That's why you got some of these voice actor accounts that will always say, insert famous character's voice actor died, and then they'll say like the Mexican dub of the character soon after. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Being allowed to talk about it, let alone put it on your resume? Yeah, if you think that sounds scummy and, in the words of Steiner, fully engineered to prevent career advancement, then congratulations! You're correct. As you can imagine, it's tricky.
See, that's the thing, is you have come up with this idea in your head that you guys are particularly put upon. I'm not exactly like Kendra. I'm more along the lines of, like, I think translators, if they do a good job, should have their credits displayed. Yeah. But you're convinced that the only reason your credits aren't displayed is to prevent your career advancement. Career advancement into what? Like, specifically, what do you think they're trying to prevent you from being advanced into?
My thing is, here's the thing. I think you should be at least be able to put the company as a resume, or like say that you are given permission to put the actual series you worked on your resume. That's fine. The problem is you think you're more important than you actually are, when all I would have to do is study Japanese for a couple of years and get just as much out of it than, say, reading subtitles.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're more important than what you actually are. And you are important. You're just not that important.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to translate it when I can just go watch it in English. I don't have to really translate it I don't have to read translations if I just go read Japanese. Like, it's really easy to just circumvent translations if I just do either of those. And one of them is actually more beneficial than the other.
Pretty much, yeah.
For some translators to be in positions to talk about this issue, and between that and the vague at best reasons why it's even happening in the first place, it's hard to say what the remedy to this situation is. That being said, I don't think it would hurt if people started vocally appreciating translators more and emphasizing that they'd like to hear them talk more about their—
Do something that's worth appreciating.
Exactly. Like, you saying you sit in the background translating these works, do you do more than that? Again, if I wanted to, I could put it into... We live in an age where we genuinely can put it into AI now. And I'm not even really an AI bro, but we can still put it into AI to get a decent translation.
Yeah.
Even if it's like botched at first, if I study a little bit of Japanese, I can just correct it myself. You got to do more than just, well, I translated it and I'm not getting the credit. You got to do something more. Either that or you got to fight for your right for better pay. If you can't do either of those things, why should I care? If you can't fight for yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
That's my problem. That's my problem. You're not doing something to fight for yourself. Why should I care about fighting for you? Why is that my job?
Exactly, yeah.
their work and getting credited for it.
Is she citing a Twitter user?
I'm a medievalist. Vocally appreciating translators more and emphasizing that they'd like to hear them talk more about their work and getting credited for it.
There's no localization, Illuminati. We just want to share what we enjoy with the world. PL_Roro.
I mean, considering the fact that the voice actor of Goku, the voice actors of Kid Goku from the original dub said that allegedly one of the voice actors who coincidentally might play Vegeta might allegedly be hosting a casting couch. We might,
This person has 400 followers. Their description just says rhythm game / MMO junkie. I translate stuff.
MMO junkie. Oh, I think I remember that one.
They're just saying they are an MMO junkie.
Oh, okay.
They work for something called J Novel Club.
Okay.
They are the project manager for J Novel Club.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like a fairly reputable site. But I don't know why you're... Like, I understand that this person is an editor for them, but still.
Maybe, like, put their actual... well, I guess you can't really put their company on there because any company that said this should be fired on the spot.
Yeah. Also, yeah, chat mentions it. The VAs literally do have a union, which is a like Illuminati for them. You cannot get into the union, unless like you're in their little friend group, and once you're in, like you get fucked.
Yeah.
You can't do anything else.
Even better, because of the whole VA union thing, turns out you can get into the union, you just have to pay their fee. Or if you join a project that is union, you have a specific amount of time to join the union within that project, or else you have to get out, which, funnily enough, is about enough time to do only half the project to where you're forced to join the union. Then you have to pay their ridiculous entry fee, and then start paying their ridiculous fees.
Yeah.
We learned this from the Genshin VA incident, where they started, and then they said, we advise you not to join the non-union projects so that you don't lose any of your benefits. And then, as seen with the Genshin project, sometimes they like to join non-union projects so they can force the project to be union.
Yeah,
which says a lot.
And it did not work out for them in that case.
Yep.
It actually kind of opened people's eyes to how bad the union was for this.
Yep, and then the union website started actually deleting their stuff.
Thank you, Internet Zen. Localizers aren't at risk of taking a baseball pitch straight to the nuts or face at 40 to 70 miles an hour. They can demand more credit and more than $80 an episode. Until then, pipe down anonymous localizers. And then another one says, I have more respect for the ADR directors of dubs like Inuyasha, who actually gave a damn about making sure VAs convey the emotional intent behind the dialogue and didn't let the VAs phone it in.
I know. Listen, I know what you're talking about because ADR dubs actually had people that could act. Unfortunately, nowadays we have people that see a YouTube dub and it's like, I can do that, and then they phone it in until they get good.
Exactly. It's pretty bad. It's pretty rough lately.
Yeah. Like, you have your exceptions. There's a reason why the word exception became a thing in the first place.
Love exceptions. They're my favorite kind of exception.
Medievalist, so I can tell you from experience that translation discourse spans back further than you can even imagine, and likewise, it'll probably continue to stick around in some form or fashion for the foreseeable future, which is why I think it's especially important for us to have a good understanding of what translation, localization, and censorship really are and aren't. Translation is a much more fluid thing than a lot of people give it credit for, and by extension, the people whose job it is to make these translations often don't get the credit they deserve. Literally, even, sometimes. I guess what I'm hoping you got out of this video was a better understanding of why translation is often a complex process, a better understanding of why translation things happen the way that they do sometimes, and perhaps most crucially, I really hope that this has given you a newfound appreciation for the people who translate Japanese media. Here's a quote from Noelle S. I think it really captures what I'm hoping what this video has taught you. Quote, translation isn't a one-to-one process. It's literally writing a whole new script, one that is based on but still separate from the original. You're consuming the ideas, not the words of someone else, and how those ideas get brought over is transferred through the lens of the translator, making them as important as the author. Whew, and on that note, I want to again thank everyone who helped.
No. That is why everyone wants you guys knocked down a peg. When you say shit like, we're just as important as the author. No, you're not. Not even close.
Think you're more important than what you actually are. If people who did it for free as a hobby are doing better than you while you're getting paid, that's a problem.
Exactly.
Again, you think you're more important than what you actually are. Calm down a peg.
We're just as important as the author. No, you're not. Shut up. Not even a fraction of important as the author.
What is it? If anything, you're about as important as an executive. Yeah. Which says a lot, because executives actually make their money because they fight for their own rights, even though they really don't have any.
Oh, that's genuinely upsetting to me. We're just as important as the author. Oh my god, shut up.
Me with this video. Even if I didn't quote you directly, and even if you didn't want to be mentioned by name, everybody's input still made this video the best it could be, and for that, I'm really grateful. As a reminder, the end card will have links to further videos on this topic if you want to learn more. There'll be the Canepa Effects video on Pay It Crunchyroll, Sarah Moon's The Case for Localization, the cartoon ciphers are English dubbed censoring anime, and Getting the Robots Queer Erasure in Eva. I highly recommend you giving them all a watch, a like, comment, a subscribe. I mean, I'm sure you know the deal by now. And in the case of Getting the Robot, I'd also encourage you to check out their Patreon, as they recently got laid off by their parent company and thus had to discontinue their channels.
Oh, I wonder why. Here, let me go back at it, because she put something up on screen there.
And you giving them all a watch, a like, comment, a subscribe. I mean, I'm sure you know the deal by now. And in the case of Getting the Robot, I'd also encourage you to check out their Patreon.
Fun fact. Getting the Robots, Y Chang. So Y Chang is Getting the Robot. is among the many people who helped with this video's research.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mr. I decided to ditch the fan community and then suddenly be like, guys, I'm back now. Like, brother, the world has moved on without you and you don't even realize it.
So Wai Chang is one of the people who is on board with this. Helped critically with it. The chat, that's all for this person's video. There's really nothing else going on there.
Oh, dang, you got raided.
Yeah, thank you, Akko. Thank you, Tim, for the raid. Unfortunately, we are about done. We're about to send people off.
Unfortunately, we're obligated to stay for another 30 trillion years.
Nah, don't do all that. So, Kendra, what did you think?
This video is a lot worse than I remember. Keep in mind, shit, I watched this when it like came out day one, and I was like, huh. Why do I disagree with this video? Because their videos are usually good, but I'm like, this video doesn't make any sense. Why is nobody fighting for their right? Because I told this to Mizu. This video literally ends with, yeah, they're being paid badly, treated badly, not credited, and nobody cares about them. But like, they're passionate about what they do, so they stick with their job. And it's like, at that point, I think you should just go find a better job.
Yeah, now you just sound like extra stupid to me.
like you're literally defending people literally being abused because they're passionate. Yeah, sweat factories are also passionate about their job too. Something about being paid for their families.
You know, you could be passionate about this and just do it as a hobby, which again, most people did for most of anime's history in the West.
Oh, that's who she tried to cancel a while ago. She was one of the people who tried canceling Vine Sauce. It was super public about it. And then when the allegations were false, she slinked back.
Why Vine Sauce?
I think he got canceled. I think he was like accused of like something heinous, and then it turned out to be fake when he defended himself.
So if I'm guessed to gather right, what probably happened was she just kind of jumped onto the train and tried to, without knowing what was actually going on or if it was true.
Yeah.
Or was she like an active participant and like, I'm accusing him of X, Y, and Z?
I think it was she jumped on the train because it was like they were trying to support someone else.
Okay. And then it came out everybody was just lying through their teeth because
yeah,
that's just the internet these days. Just call somebody a fucking predator and everybody's supposed to either believe you or be a bigot. Again.
I think it was either predator allegations or rape allegations. It was one of the two.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's always that. But chat, I'll send you off to somebody I like, Hibana. What did you think, chat? Red Bard had the gall to double down on canceling Vinny after he threatened to sue his accusers? Oh yeah! So she didn't just like do it. Like she doubled down on it even after it was like, yeah, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not good.
What happens when you're stupid? After this, after she released her Izumi-con video that she hyped up for a couple years, pretty much everybody, she's no longer in the algorithm. That's what happens when you stop uploading for a while. You grow irrelevant. That's how it is.
Just do streams like everybody else.
No, don't come into my space. Stay your irrelevancy.
You stay over there. Be gone, witch. But thank you guys for coming out tonight.
You did better. Yeah, thank you. I hope you loved this special video. Keep them coming, guys.
I do have to ask Kendra, what is your, do you have a plan for this Tuesday?
I do have an art stream, but I can change it if, did you want to do SCP?
Oh, I was gonna ask if you wanted to again. But it's fine if you have plans.
No. I literally just came up with art stream because I had no idea what to plan. So I'm going to do SCP.
Fair enough. We can do SCP. So chat Tuesday, more SCP. Because we know you guys love it. Oh, but bye, guys.
Exactly.
On Twitch, I'm going to send you guys over to Miko. Be good for Miko. And we'll see you guys Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Tuesday.